Welcome to the new sound of online radio. Welcome to the sound of Universal Broadcasting Network. 'Cause you make me feel like I've been locked out of heaven. A mix of today's hits and hard-to-find favorites, combined with the most entertaining and intriguing talk anywhere. This is your sound. This is the sound of Universal Broadcasting Network at UBNradio.com.
All right, welcome to Mostly Sports on Tuesday night, the 12th of July. I got to give a huge shout out to start the show to my mom, Barbara Scavati, Grandma Babs. It is her birthday today. I'm not going to say how old she is. She looks like she's 40, though. Happy birthday, Mom. Hope you are listening. Yeah, there we go. Welcome, Mostly Sports. However you're listening, we appreciate you tuning in. iTunes, iHeartRadio, whatever it may be. Facebook Live, we're going to be doing a little bit of that tonight. We're going to be doing a little bit of periscoping. We're going to be doing a little bit of everything because we have a huge show tonight. You know this, my co-host is not here yet. He's sitting in traffic on La Brea Avenue right now. So I'm going to give you the quick rundown. Huge show tonight. I can't even begin. We don't even have enough time to do all this stuff. I was at the Louis C.K. show last night at the Forum. I'm going to recap that. It was an unbelievable show. This week, I feel like historically has always been baseball's week. July 4th and the All-Star Game. This should be baseball's week. And over the past 6-7 days, baseball has been grasping for air, just trying to grab a headline on any sports channel. And they failed. Nobody is talking about baseball right now, and here is why. Even with the All-Star Game going on right now, I believe the American League is up 4-2. Baseball can't get on any front pages because of things like this that we will talk about tonight. UFC 200 was this past Saturday night. A lot of mixed reviews on that. UFC was just sold in 2001 for $4 billion. Initially bought in 2001 for $2 million. Quite an investment. I know Jay, and when Morgan was on the show, used to give me shit because I would always say that it was on a historic rise, but these numbers don't lie. This is a historic sale, one of the biggest profits for any business being sold in the history of time. Draymond Green of the Golden State Warriors arrested for assault. That was yet another thing that baseball couldn't get ahead of. And then once that died down a little bit, baseball said, all right, now we can finally talk about what we want to talk about. It's the it's All-Star Weekend. Then you have one of the best power forwards, probably the best power forward of all time, Tim Duncan, retiring. Haven't heard a word from Tim Duncan. We've heard from his coach. We heard from everybody. He retired in very Tim Duncan style. Not during the Super Bowl, not during the All-Star Game, which A-Rod decided that was a few years back. That's when he wanted to tell everyone he signed a new contract. He didn't hold a press conference. He just told his agent. His agent told, I think it was the Vertical, and they broke the news, and that was it. And Tim Duncan retired just like that. Huge part of the Kobe era, end of the Jordan era. Huge news coming out of the NBA. We'll also talk a little bit of Olympics and Serena Williams winning Wimbledon. Andy Murray also won Wimbledon, but Serena is huge because she just won her 22nd major, tying Steffi Graf for the most of all time. Margaret Court has more than her, but that was a long time ago. I don't even know if that was in the Open era. So Serena taking headlines. Even Bradley Cooper fighting with his girlfriend at Wimbledon is taking up more headlines than baseball. If you are on social media, all you see these Kevin Durant fake Yelp reviews, which are hysterical. Some of these people are so clever on Twitter with these fake Yelp reviews, just trashing Kevin Durant for leaving Oklahoma City at his restaurant, which I believe is called Durant's. The UEFA Euro Cup wrapped up this week too. I believe it was Sunday. Portugal beating France 1-0 with Ronaldo going out, but everyone keeps talking about how he took his shirt off after, and he's a good-looking man who works out. So I guess those are news when you're talking about soccer. Some dude taking his shirt off. What else? We also played Mostly Sports in the TBT, which is the basketball tournament, and we lost in the first round to the Boston College alumni team. But we'll talk about that when Jay gets in. Calling in, we will have the director of that tournament, Dan Friel. He's going to call in and give us some good insight as to everything that's going on with that tournament. Phenomenal event sponsored by Jack Link's Beef Jerky and ESPN. $2 million winner-take-all. We didn't have a shot, and I forgot to bring in my jersey. Hopefully Jay does, because, you will be very entertained by the jerseys they gave us. And then later, second hour, this is what I'm really fired up for. We have Julien Solomita coming on. Julian is I guess we call it an internet sensation, an internet celebrity. I don't know. V, you're sitting across from me. What would you call Julian? A YouTube influencer. Okay. He actually just texted right now. I don't know if you can write him back. That'd be great. Julian's going to be on the show. We're going to talk a lot about UFC. He knows everything there is to know about UFC. Okay. Sorry about that. He knows everything there is to know about UFC, and Jay and I do not. So we are going to talk to him quite a bit about everything that happened with Anderson Silva. Why is everyone booing Daniel Cormier? I guess everyone calls him DC. How they could just have somebody step in and fight at the last second. You train for months and months thinking, okay, I'm going to be fighting this John Jones guy. And then at the last second, you got Anderson Silva. No way they fight the same way. I'm just very curious to know how that works, what kind of mentality a fighter has for something like that. And, I assume it's like prepping in the NFL for a team all week and then Sunday morning saying, you know what, you're not going to play the Patriots, you're going to play the Seahawks. Totally different team, totally different everything. Kind of bizarre. But he ended up getting booed after everybody who follows UFC saw his little interview when Dana White, the president of UFC, told him that he wasn't going to be fighting John Jones. John Jones tested positive, PEDs, and it was a very heartfelt interview. Or just a moment. It wasn't even an interview. It was just a moment caught on camera. And he said, I just trained so hard for this. I'm so upset. I don't know why everybody was booing him. We're going to ask Julian some of these questions. We're also going to do a segment which we need a name for, which I need your help. Jay and I are a little bit older, and we look actually older than we are. Maybe not Jay. Jay's pretty old. But we're thinking Old Man River, something along those lines. We need to find out from Julian. Julian's a young kid, just like yourself, V. Young kid. God, that even just me saying that makes me sound so old. We're going to find out what the hell is going on with this Pokemon craze because we don't know what the hell it is. Jay and I were even too old for the original Pokemon thing in 1996, 97. I was a freshman, sophomore in college. And I know the kids I used to teach tennis to back then were obsessed with Pokemon. We didn't know what the hell it was. So we're going to have him come on talk about that. He's going to talk about the Jenna and Julien podcast. And how those guys are just absolutely blowing up. Everything they put online just kind of, I guess you would say, goes viral. Is that right? V? Is that right? Everything they put online just kind of goes viral, and people can't get enough of these two?
Jenna and Julien?
Yeah. Okay. Thanks for your help. She's busy eating her street fruit that I picked up today. Delicious street fruit on the corner of Fountain and...
In front of fruit and chili.
All right, but starting off right now, I went last night to see Louis C.K. at the Forum, and I had never been to a venue to see a single comedian before. I've been to plenty of concerts, obviously a million sporting events, been to plenty of comedy clubs, and I actually want to thank Taylor Grant for that because whenever we were hanging out in the city after college, whenever we were bored a little bit, we didn't really know what to do. Where do we go? Should we go to the same bar and drink? He was always the one who suggested, let's go to a comedy club. It might be a little more expensive, but we're drinking, which we were going to do anyway. We're going to be hanging out with the same, 5 or 6 people. None of us were hooking up with each other or anything like that, guys, girls. And he said, people are making you laugh. We're paying a little bit extra to have people make us laugh. And we always did it kind of against our will, and we always had a blast doing it. So thanks for that, Taylor. I doubt you're listening right now. But last night was my first night going to the Forum. I think Forum holds about 25,000 people. I think roughly. I might have been totally making that number up. But it was packed, and everyone was there to see Louis C.K., and he delivered. I don't think anybody left that place disappointed. I know I've seen plenty of people stand up and you say, oh, this guy's here tonight. He's going to be doing a set, and they're testing out new material, and it's no good. Louis was absolutely hilarious. He talked, surprisingly, a lot about suicide, which only him could make hysterical. Talked about being gay, how he's not gay, but he has all these gay thoughts. I don't think anybody's recording the show last night, but if you can go on and listen to his rant about the Magic Mike trailer with Matthew McConaughey and Channing Tatum, it was everybody was on the floor rolling. It was classic. All right, so real quick too, I want to talk a little bit of tennis and talk Serena. I know we're going on tape right now, right when I start talking about tennis, really. Anyway, Serena won her 22nd major as Jay walks in right now. What's happening, dude? She won her 22nd major, tying Steffi Graf. And me being the idiot that I am, or I thought actually pretty smart guy that I was, before Wimbledon, I'm sitting around, and I put a little bet on Milos Raonic and Andy Murray to win Wimbledon. Okay, both getting pretty good odds. Murray was 4-1. Raonic was like 20-1, and they both played in the final. And when I found out that I won, I went online and I checked my bet, and it hadn't registered yet on my account. And I said, "Oh, that's kind of interesting. Maybe they just do it at the end of the day, or it's in London, so it's the timing's off, whatever." The next day, nothing. Okay, so I'm like, this is weird. Normally it registers right away. So I look at my bet a little closer. Not only did I not bet on them for Wimbledon 2016, I bet on them for the Australian Open 2017.
So you have that to look forward to.
So I got that going for me.
Which is nice.
Which is nice. Now, here's another thing, though. I always hate, I love, especially talking about it with you, the season prop bets in football.
Sorry I'm late, by the way.
That's all right.
Okay.
No problem. Just slide right into it.
Appreciate it.
But I hate having those bets in my queue, my open bet queue,
Yeah.
all effing season. Now I got one, a tennis bet nonetheless, until next January. 3 of them. I don't like it.
You got a ways to go,
anyway,
man.
That's it. Murray, congrats to Murray and Serena.
What if
fan.
one of them gets hurt? Can you get out of the bet, or are you locked into the bet?
Tennis is weird because it could be 6-0, 6-0, 5-0, 40 love, and the guy can retire, or it could rain or whatever, and the bet gets canceled.
Well, what did you get Raonic at when you made the bet?
Raonic, I think it was 18-1.
So if he stays on the same trajectory that he's been on, he'll probably be like around like 10-1 at the Australian Open.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, you'd think 18 seems a little low
A little low?
for Wimbledon. Like this year,
I mean, with
For
the
the-
serving and volley, and especially with Djokovic going out, I thought I was golden.
yeah, that's interesting.
Golden.
I mean, that's probably his best service, but
I would think so. Yeah, absolutely.
you never know what could happen, man. He could turn out to be the best player in the world in about 5 months, and he'd be like a 5-1 favorite, and all of a sudden you're sitting on 18-1, locked in. Life
Yeah.
is good.
That's not bad. I'll take the $180 for that.
It's always a positive out there.
You missed a good intro. Recapping everything. We have so much we got to talk about. I forgot to mention The Bachelor with Aaron Rodgers and his brother beefing right now too.
Is it really a beef though if one guy's not allowed to respond? I mean, it's basically one guy has the conch and his brother's throwing him under the bus, and Aaron's not there to respond.
Right. Well, I don't know. We need. I want to do that in a little bit. You didn't eat your coconut? Oh.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what did you already crushed yours, huh? Your fruit, so good. One of these days I'll give it a try. What did you leave behind in your? So you've eaten all the fruit, but what?
Coconut.
But the coconut.
I'm
Okay.
not a big coconut fan. I
No.
tried a piece because I usually never eat it, and I was like, you know what, I need to stop being a brat and just try it. So I did, and yeah.
See, I don't like cantaloupe in my fruit
Oh,
cocktail.
dude, we make a good trade then. I love cantaloupe.
Oh, you like cantaloupe?
Especially
See,
with the
I don't
chili
need
powder, it's
cantaloupe in
phenomenal.
my fruit cocktail. More grapes, more watermelon, and I'm happy.
All right, so I started off, we talked a little about the Louis C.K. show last night, but I started off talking about how this week, historically, has been baseball's, we got to turn that off, E, has been baseball's week,
Well, that was me.
okay?
My-
Excuse me. July 4th weekend, it's very American, obviously. It's a lot of barbecues, a lot of apple pie, a lot of jazz music, a lot
Wow.
of baseball.
Americana apple pie.
Yeah, that's American. And baseball, America's pastime. Baseball couldn't get any headlines this weekend. Now this week, last night you had the home run derby. Phenomenal home run derby.
Yeah.
Tonight,
Who
the
won?
All-Star game is going on. Giancarlo Stanton. 61 bombs.
What was his name before it was Giancarlo Stanton?
Mike Stanton.
Mike Stanton.
Yeah.
What triggered that name change?
I don't know. He wanted to be
Did
a
it
little
become like an
he went, I
exotic
think he was
dancer?
Giancarlo and then to Mike and then back to Giancarlo.
Okay.
I don't like saying Giancarlo.
I like how you say it, actually. You sound like Gerardo. Remember Gerardo?
Yeah,
We
Rico
talked-
Suave.
Yeah, we talked about him a couple weeks ago.
Yeah. He gets a lot of press on this show.
A lot of press, man.
More than he should. Anyway, baseball's been trying so hard to grasp for anything. They're trying to talk about the Cubs and the emergence of Bryce Harper. And with this All-Star game, they're just pushing and pushing and pushing to say, this is so huge because it's home field advantage. And they're selling this because that's all they have to sell, and I'm not buying it. Sure, it is nice to have that home field advantage. Nobody remembers at the end. When the World Series starts, everybody goes, wait, who won the All-Star? Who has? Is it going to be Chicago or is it going to be Boston? Okay. Oh, they won it. Okay, that's lucky for Chicago. They get, the home field advantage. But nobody cares about that, and that's what they're selling right now with this. But anyway, point being, they can't get any air right now. They can't get any of the front or back page of the tabloids because of Draymond Green, Tim Duncan, the Olympics, everything that's going on in Rio, Serena going down as the best of all time, UFC 200, Okay, it was this past weekend. Then UFC just got sold. I had a little thing in the front. I took a little
Lamar
pat on the
Odom
back.
throwing up on an airplane.
Throwing up on an airplane, being escorted off the airplane, and then apparently they let him back on the airplane. Even,
That tells you where baseball ranks when Lamar
it's
Odom throwing
brutal.
up on an airplane.
Kevin Durant's restaurant, the fake Yelp reviews on Kevin
that's
Durant's restaurant
hysterical.
are hilarious. These
I didn't-
people in Oklahoma City are very clever.
Yeah, who knew?
They are very
Thought they
clever.
were just a bunch of backwards hicks. God
Even
bless them.
Bradley Cooper fighting with his girlfriend at Wimbledon, which was on camera, made is bigger news than baseball.
Mm-hmm.
So I have nothing to say about baseball. There's nothing. I had lunch with a buddy today who's a big Sox fan. He said, I love Sox Yankees. I said, dude, that rivalry is dead right now. When we look back in the grand scheme of things, this is boring. There's nobody. There's no exciting personalities. There's nobody who you want to follow. And I listened to an interview today with Rob Manfred, the commissioner of baseball, and he's great. But he goes, yeah, I want to make Bryce Harper kind of the face of baseball because he's got the personality, he's got all this, and all the old guys hate me for it.
Is it bad that I didn't know the name of the commissioner of baseball?
No, because I paused for a sec because I was almost going to call him Bob Manfred, even though
Okay.
Rob and Bob aren't too far off. But he's great, and he knows the deal. He's a little bit younger, so he kind of gets it. He's not Goose Gossage. saying-
Jarvis just threw some reviews up there. Some of the
the Yelp.
Yelp reviews.
I can't even get on here yet.
Pretty funny.
And then I said we're going to have Dan Friel calling in about 20 minutes, 25
Yeah,
minutes.
maybe sooner. Yeah, I think it's between 7:30 7:40. Did you talk about the TBT top of the show?
No, I mentioned it, and then I said we were going to wait for you to get into that. I ran through everything. We got a stacked show tonight.
Stacked show, a lot going on. TBT played last Saturday, played against the Boston College alumni team, all pros, all guys playing overseas now, and exponentially younger than we are. And we only had 6 guys.
5.5.
5. Oh, you're giving yourself. Okay, I gave you a full person.
No, I appreciate that.
Gave you a full person, which was tough because we're the oldest team in the tournament. We kept it close. We played a really, really good first half and shot it well enough to be actually leading, but they just shot it a little bit better. Then second half, out of gas, exhausted. I went back and listened to the live feed, so I was mic'd up during the whole game. And I went back to listen, and I'm just like huffing and puffing.
That's funny.
Like 10 minutes in, I'm like, somebody who's listening to this probably thinks they're listening to a porn. Like, dude, this guy is just.
Well, you guys had to play.
That was me.
You told me, you asked me before the game, which I appreciate, because I was also playing in a tennis tournament in Manhattan Beach. So by the time it came down to get in the car and drive to Cal State, Los Angeles, where the tournament was, I was dead. My body was just shot, and I had to play in the finals the next day. I appreciate you asking me, saying, how much do you really want to play tonight? Because I haven't played basketball since the TBT 2015. I had this huge plan to really get in shape and play ball so I could, run with everybody.
And then you bought a house.
And then I bought a house, had a daughter, have a lot of responsibilities. I wasn't
I think
able to
you
get
already
out and
had
run
the
with
daughter.
her. Yeah.
The
I
daughter
can't
was
really blame my age
the
for
daughter
that.
was already in the picture on that one.
But I would say, I've told a few people, I said, it's been a very long time, and I was never really self-conscious about it when I played in high school, even a little bit in college. I was so self-conscious. I was the shortest person by far on the floor. It was unbelievable.
The level of basketball, and we'll get into it with Dan, is just like it's so insanely high in this tournament.
Yeah.
I mean, it literally is like the NBA, the top leagues in Europe, and then like this is right there, maybe with that or just below the top leagues in Europe. I mean, this is talent on talent on talent everywhere. So I mean, people are coming out playing for $2 million, and it's so professionally run. Our uniforms were ridiculous.
Yeah, I meant to bring one in and hang it up.
Hanging
but
up.
Avery had it before I left.
We were like, what were we, like yellow, pink, sherbet. It's basically like sherbet.
It was, yeah,
The colors of the rainbow.
the WeHo MostlySports team.
Yes, we all look like unicorns.
Yeah.
And
Which is tough because the team, when we walked into the gym, there were 2 sets of unis. Okay, obviously the team's playing before us. One of them looked like the Brooklyn Nets.
yeah,
Cool, black and white with the numbers on the side. It looked really cool, like an 8-ball. And then the other team, their unis looked like throwback, from the 70s Portland Trailblazers jerseys. And then I saw ours. Ooh.
yeah. We were the only team that didn't have reversible jerseys because our colors were just so crazy. They were
ridiculous.
just like, all right, let's give them one just crazy jersey.
I feel like even those jerseys wouldn't have made the cut in that ridiculous Will Ferrell basketball movie.
They would have been like too outrageous.
They were too much. People are like, nobody would buy those as basketball jerseys, even in a
I
fictional
liked
movie.
them. I liked them. I thought
They're
that
funny.
I mean, they were. I mean, again, like everything about this tournament, we'll get in with Dan. Is so top class.
Yeah. Oh, it is so well
like
run.
full uniforms, locker rooms. We had to do a press conference afterward, which was amazing. The live stream and the ESPN announcers doing the game. just really classy and a great experience and a great tournament. It's still going on.
Yeah.
For the next month. So everybody out there, keep a lookout for it. The basketball tournament.
$2 million winner take all.
$2 million, man.
It's funny.
It's
It's funny. When I was signing in, we're signing the release, and I'm standing next to number 50 on the other team, the big dude who had probably 15 blocks.
Yes.
Which I feel responsible for because I kept telling Brian, I was like, take it to the hole. You're as athletic as these guys. And he did, and I was watching. I'm like, good. He was doing what I said. He was just taking so long to get his move down that against a guy like that who's that long and that quick.
He was so long.
He was all over him.
I appreciated you trying to run plays for me, which was nice.
Well, you were rolling, and I'm watching it from the side. I know you guys play a lot more basketball than I do.
Hey.
But I'm watching from the side, and I'm kind of seeing everything from behind. When you can pick up a lot of stuff, you were rolling.
I was feeling
when you
good.
were getting a good look, you were knocking it down without question. That I said, TJ should be bringing it up. Get Brian on the wing, see if he can do something. If not, run you off a screen on the baseline. Boom. There's our buckets.
Had it going, man. 15 in the first half, and literally just ran into
ran out of gas.
Wall.
Now I'm wondering about them. Are they thinking, we just had an easy W, or is their coach sitting over there saying, you guys just almost embarrassed yourself? These guys had 6 guys. One of the guys was barely playing. You got outshot. You were down 8 points 7 minutes into the game.
Yeah.
It's
well, I mean, we can make shots. That's the thing. And it would have been nice to have a couple other guys, but we had a couple guys no show, which sucked.
Anybody talk to that dude yet?
No. If we had a couple more guys, I think we would have given them a pretty good run and actually had a legit shot to beat them. They ended up losing the next day by like 6 or 8. But again, I mean, these are all guys that are in their 20s, and he was like, these guys were first, second, third team, all ACC players playing in big leagues overseas, going up against a bunch of guys in their early 40s, late 30s.
Yeah, who played lacrosse in college. And haven't, played D3 ball in 20 years.
So,
but it was fun, man. I love that.
Tons of fun.
It's a fun tourney. All right, we're going to talk UFC. We'll wait till Julian comes on. Again, we have a monster show coming in. Dan Friel, director of the TBT, the basketball tournament, is going to be calling in very shortly. And then second hour, we're going to have Julien Solomita coming on. He's all over Twitter, all over YouTube, all over Facebook, all over everything. He's co-host of the Jenna and Julien Podcast with Jenna Marbles too. This kid knows more about UFC maybe than Dana White. It's impressive. And we don't know much, so we're going to ask him some ridiculous questions, some good questions I have for him, some ridiculous questions. Same thing with Dan.
Well, see, that it's going to be fun to have Julian on because we had Julian on years ago when you and I had the old show.
Yeah.
And I was in an entirely different headspace then. I hated the UFC, and I had no respect for it, and I thought it was just like human cockfighting. And I've since come around, and I remember I kind of gave him a little shit when he was on because I was like, whatever, UFC. These guys are like just like naked men wrestling with each other and punching each other. And it was just weird to me. I didn't get it.
Right.
But now, I have the utmost respect for these guys. These guys are like assassins.
Nice.
And this Julian has got an incredible following.
Yeah.
Put one thing up on Twitter, all of a sudden, hundreds of people were going nuts.
Yeah. So he's coming on in about a half hour, and then Dan Friel coming up now. We got. I just want to do a little bit of basketball. I mean, we should be talking about baseball right now, but
we already did.
One of the greatest of all time just retired. Does he make your all-time NBA first team?
No.
Maybe. Who do you put at power forward ahead of him?
All right, maybe he does make it. If I'm making a team.
Yeah, first team All-NBA of all time.
Yeah, I guess you kind of got to give it to him over, unless I'm putting LeBron at the 5 or at the 4.
No, LeBron gets the spot at 3, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, Tim Duncan was great. He retired exactly the way that he played.
That's what I said to start.
Brian and I were sitting there watching some NBA Summer League today, and then they did this video montage of Tim Duncan highlights, and it was the most boring highlight montage of just tip dunks and
turnaround
hooks and block shots where he didn't jump.
Right.
I mean, literally the most boring dude ever created. In 5 years, people are still gonna be like, "Is Tim Duncan still playing?"
Yeah.
I'm
sure a lot of people today said, I thought he retired a few years ago.
Yeah, exactly.
But I saw the interview with Pop today, Greg Popovich, and he said, and they said, how are you doing? He was like, I'm fine. I figured I'd be here and not Tim today. He didn't want to be here. He just retired, one of the greatest players of all time. And he didn't even want to have a presser or anything. That's the way he did it. And I started the show. You get people like A-Rod who announced their new contract right in the middle of the All-Star game a few years back. And then you got Duncan, who wanted zero press whatsoever. Never, ever. And I don't think he got enough credit for this. He wanted to win. That was it. He took a lot less money every year so that he could win.
The guy was great. I can't honestly say I'm going to miss him.
No.
I never really enjoyed watching Tim Duncan play basketball. It wasn't
Right.
something like must-see TV. Hey, I need to watch the Spurs are on. Tim Duncan's playing.
That's awful.
Kudos to the guy. The guy's
like
a
watching
professional.
chess.
I'm sure Joey Crawford is not like, crying over spilt milk today that he retired. I mean, Joey Crawford famously, got suspended screaming at Tim Duncan while he was on the bench.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently Duncan was a little bit of a whiner to the refs. I mean, you could see Timmy. He had a lot of crybaby in him, begging for calls.
Yeah.
But yeah, great player, winner, great situation. I mean, basketball is entirely just, I've said it before on the show, there's maybe 5 guys in the league where situation does not matter. They're just going to be great regardless, and their teams will be great.
Mm-hmm.
For everybody else, it's all about situation, style, coaching. Everything has to be lined up perfectly. And that would probably be my one knock on Duncan. I don't think he's the kind of guy, and I could be totally wrong on this, but like you just drop anywhere, and that team automatically wins 25 more games.
You think he would or would not?
I mean, in his prime, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously,
10 years ago, of course.
the Spurs got very lucky that David Robinson was hurt the year before they drafted him. Like, they were a playoff
That's
team.
what you need, yeah.
David Robinson gets hurt, they go down, boom, we get the number 1 pick. We get Tim Duncan. All of a sudden, you get Duncan and Robinson back. They go to the NBA Finals, and they beat the Knicks.
That
right?
front line was Duncan. I think it was, if I remember, it was Duncan, Robinson, and Kevin Willis. Like one of the biggest dudes.
Huge
one of the
arms
most
on that
ripped to
Kevin Willis.
shreds guys.
Huge arms.
Unbelievable.
I'm definitely like I'm not giving Tim Duncan the credit he deserves.
Mm-hmm.
Now that like I can hear myself speaking, I should be like
I'm
raving
just letting
about
you
this
go
guy.
here. Yeah.
But I just like it. There's just something, and maybe that's the way that he wanted it. He wanted it to be really underwhelming.
Yeah.
And just like, and then at the end of the day, you look down, you're like, wow, look at all those numbers.
Mm-hmm.
Look at all those championships.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
Holy shit. Like
15-time All-Star, 5 championships, made the playoffs every year in the league, 18 years or 19 years in the league.
The guy's a winner. Guy's
Unreal.
great. Guy's boring as hell.
Might be one of the most. I was listening to a list today of some of the most boring athletes of all time, and I think he tops that list without question.
Who else was on that list?
Who else? Tom Kite was on the list.
That's not like because those like weird glasses he used to wear that were like super big. He
These
looked
looked a
real
little nerdy.
nerdy.
Yeah.
Super nerdy.
But there are just some guys that stay out of it. I had lunch with a guy from Boston today, and he was asking why I don't like any of these guys on the Yankees right now. I said they're just boring. I don't care what Jacoby Ellsbury's up to. I said
Yeah.
Mark Teixeira could be sitting right next to us.
Jeter just got married up in Santa Barbara this weekend.
Up in Napa.
Oh, in Napa.
In Meadowood, where I was at a wedding a couple months ago.
Shocked you didn't crash it.
It's funny. My buddy who got married there sent me a text. This was the ridiculous wedding where you had to play croquet the next morning.
Yes.
So he sent me a text. He goes, "Sorry, number 2, no pinstripes on the croquet lawn." It was pretty funny. Jamie Lyko.
That's
It was
pretty
hilarious. But yeah, I mean that was it. He was. I was even just gonna say he was fun to watch. He wasn't fun to watch. He was boring. The big fundamentals, what he was called. That's it. Unbelievable career. Will go down as first or second team All NBA of all time.
Top 10 guy, guaranteed. Not
Of
even a
course.
question.
Yeah.
That top 5 is rarefied air. It's nothing. Honestly, I haven't sat down and tried to write down. I'm one of those people. There's a top 10, and then you can just argue within that top 10. But all those guys are amazing. So, and he's in that pantheon.
I agree. Keep talking, because I just took a bite of something.
What'd you just take a bite of?
Watermelon.
Dude, how spicy is that? So anybody like that is not watching and they're just listening, it's like this fruit thing that you get that has all this juice, and they put cayenne pepper over it.
They put chili powder and lime juice.
Chili powder and
Chili powder and
is
lime
it
juice.
super spicy?
No, it's like perfect spicy. It's street fruit. I buy it from a guy. It's $5. It's a little tub of fruit.
Is that cucumber in there?
Yeah, they put a little cucumber
That's
too.
nasty.
No, it's great. It all balances out
I like cucumber in like a drink with some gin. It's delicious.
because it freshens it up.
Yeah.
That's why. That's what this does.
And is the
Same
bottom
thing.
the best part? Like most
Yeah.
things? Is it really?
It's just chili powdery
Interesting.
juice. Delicious. All right, so we are flying tonight. Draymond Green arrested for assault. Big story when it broke. Not a lot of details coming out. What do you make of this?
Apparently, some guy heckled him, and Draymond Green slapped him.
Yeah.
When you heckle somebody, you're probably gonna get slapped.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like the audacity of this guy to go up to Draymond Green, who you know is a hothead, heckle him, get slapped, and then go call the cops. It's like it screams setup.
Of
Just
course.
screams setup.
Yeah.
Now, if he got into like a brawl, pulled out a gun, raped, whatever. This is
Jarvis has
there
my
it is.
fruit
I
up.
saw that. Non-issue.
Yeah.
Absolute. It makes me like Draymond Green even more.
I agree. This, when the headlines came in, everybody, you jump on social media, all it was, oh, did he kick someone in the nuts? What happened? Wow, Jarvis, you are good, man.
So good.
Excuse me.
Do you have to get the chili powder on it?
You don't have to, but you should. It takes it up a few
Maybe
notches.
next week I'll have you grab me one.
It's good.
You have a go-to guy you go to?
On the way here, yeah. He's on the corner of Fountain and like the 2nd Street east of La Brea.
Do you order in your Mexican Mike voice?
How would I do that?
Hey,
mi chavo.
hey, amigo.
Let me get some of that fruit, man.
Dos frutos, extra chili powder, man.
Frutos. Hey, ¿cómo se dice? I don't know.
What was that?
I don't know. I was trying to say, how are you doing? But I started talking something in Italian. I don't get it.
Do you speak like restaurant Spanish?
Used to. It's been a little while.
Been a while.
I kind of forgot. You work in a bar in Southern California for a while. You're going to pick up some stuff.
Pick up a little restaurant Spanish,
You
yeah.
know? Some Spanglish. You watch any of the UEFA Euro Cup?
I did. I watched the whole game. It was
You
boring
did?
as hell.
Boring as hell.
I'm a big Ronaldo guy.
Me too.
I mean, hard not to be a Ronaldo guy.
Yeah.
It's a shame when he got hurt.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the stretcher just cracks me up.
It's hilarious.
Man. It's like something from like the show MASH in 1965.
It
like
is.
8 dudes carried him off on this plastic stretcher,
Yeah.
and he's crying. His hair hasn't moved. He doesn't even seem like a real person to me. It's
No,
like
he
it's
doesn't.
like a green screen, and he's just like James Cameron projected him on there like Avatar.
Yeah.
You
Pretty
know?
much. And then when he gets
So-
hurt, you're kind of in shock. You're like, that's not supposed to happen.
But my 2 cents of soccer knowledge. I mean, France dominated that game.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Portugal was just like just got lucky, scored a goal, and held on for dear life.
Yeah, pretty much.
You know,
See, soccer, I like soccer highlights. I always watch soccer highlights whenever they're on TV because it's 90 minutes crammed into 5 seconds, and it's all the exciting stuff.
yeah.
Soccer is so painfully boring. I watched part of the Germany-France game, and my phone was in the other room, and I didn't want to get up to go tweet.
A little anger in that game going back.
A little bit. But Germany had the ball the entire time. They just couldn't score. They had, 16 to 3 shots on goal or something, and then France just put one in at the end, game over. I'm like, wow, that sucks because they controlled the entire game.
I mean,
Not many other sports
Germany
like that.
literally occupied that country, like about less than 75 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
That's not that long ago that country just took the other country over. There's got to be some bad blood. I don't know why that's not talked about in the pregame. I don't know. But this wasn't like 400 years ago during the feudal wars. This was in the 1900s.
I can't wait to see what Jarvis is going to put up for these comments. He's got
There's-
Ronaldo right now. on the
There's
ground.
got to be some like something going on. Some grandparents of these guys
Yeah,
are bitter.
Sure.
Yes.
And and we think the Red Sox Yankees is the best. Dodgers Giants is the best rivalry. Not even close. When you talk about international football,
So France
Forget
got
it.
a little revenge, a little small modicum of revenge in a
Yeah.
soccer game over being occupied.
what else? I was just going to ask something else about soccer, but I think that we've extended our knowledge on what we know about
It
soccer.
was great. It was very watchable. I like soccer because a lot of times it's on during the day, and you put any sport on during the day, I'm going to be like super excited.
Yeah.
Like the English League darts. If that's on, cool. Daytime sports. I don't have to wait till 4:00 for games to start.
Mm-hmm.
So it's nice to wake up and have some sports on. That's why I'm geeked for the Olympics. So, daytime sports. Big fan.
Dan Friel just sent us an email talking about the best looking team in the
There they
in the
are.
tournament. Look at those
Look at
jerseys, man.
those. Wow.
Wow. I look like in shock.
He's calling in about 5.
Cool. What else we got? Again, I don't want to talk about UFC till Julian gets here. All-Star game happening right now. The American League is up 4-2. I talked to everybody about Louis C.K., seeing him in concert.
Yeah, so what was going on
Pretty
there?
cool.
He was
Not in concert. He was just doing a show at the Forum in Inglewood. A buddy called up, said, I got tickets. You down? I said, yeah, all right.
What's a Louis C.K. ticket go for?
$50 face value.
Okay.
I think my buddy paid $100 in last minute.
Really?
Yeah.
$100 to see
Yeah.
Louis?
But
Is he that
those-
funny?
You know what? It's the stuff he was talking about where I think you and me are kind of funny.
Okay.
And if you told me that one of the stories that he told last night, I'd be like, this is so fucking stupid. Do I have to listen to this whole thing? Same thing. And if I was doing the same to you, but there's just something about that. I mean, he was talking about suicide for 25 minutes.
What was he talking about with Magic Mike?
Oh man, he went on this thing about how he hated when the Magic Mike commercial would come on the air.
Okay.
I think it was the second one he was talking
Double
about.
XL.
Because he said there was a part of that commercial, and he was the whole lead up to it was he was suppressing his gay feelings. Okay? So he said there was this part in Magic Mike that he loved. And he's like, Matthew McConaughey comes on stage and he's got his shirt off. And like he's like Channing Tatum's in the corner. And I'm trying not to look, but like I'm looking at Channing Tatum because he's got his shirt off too. And he's like, again, I'm not gay. I'm taking these feelings. And I'm like, rah, like shoving him down. Like I'm trying to get some guy to suck my dick, you know? And then he goes, there's this part where McConaughey just walks in and he goes, they say touching's against the law, but there's a lot of lawbreakers in here.
Yes.
And he did the impersonation. It was the worst impersonation, worse than I just did. He did it probably like 10, 15 times. And then he just goes off on this tangent. And he's like, the next day I'm sitting at my table. My kids already went to school. And I'm sitting there eating breakfast. I realized for 20 minutes I was just looking off, picturing Channing Tatum and Matthew McConaughey playing Frisbee in a park. And he's like, this situation's never happened, but I just made it up. And McConaughey's wearing these cut-off jean shorts, and he just paints this picture. He's like, and they're the kind of jean shorts where like the white part of the pocket comes down a little bit lower than the short. And Channing Tatum's wearing a bandana around his neck. And he just painted this ridiculous picture that was hysterical.
Have you seen Magic Mike Double XL?
I haven't. I got to watch it now.
I mean, I'm unapologetically, I'll tell you. I
love it. I know you love it.
probably watched it 5 times.
I told my buddy I was with, I said, it's funny because my buddy Jay told me, he was like, you got to watch it. It's just a bunch of dudes hanging out, having fun.
Just a bunch of bros on a road trip.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't beat that.
Yeah.
Very good movie.
It was funny.
No McConaughey, though. He wanted more money. He had just coming off the...
so he was in the first... Okay, so he was talking about the first one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Dan's calling in 1 minute.
He did do one thing. He said, he was talking about how much he loved naps. And he said... he goes, naps are like suicide for people who want to do shit later. And it was just like, the way he explained this was classic because it made perfect sense. You take a nap, you kill yourself for a little bit, but I want to watch the game later. So I'll wake up and
take a little nap.
Unkill myself.
No, he's funny. I've seen him
funny.
a couple times. I don't know. Oh, there's some Magic Mike right there. Double XL.
No, I'm a little
Jarvis is on it. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if I would pay. I guess my point is I don't know if I would pay $100 to go see a comedian.
I normally wouldn't.
Phone call.
But it was kind of a bucket list thing. It was worth it.
Who's on the line right now? Do we know who this is?
Yeah, this is Dan Friel from TBT.
Dan Friel from TBT.
Can we get some applause for him, too?
Dan, leading up to you calling in, we were in a very deep discussion about the Magic Mike movies.
I have not seen that.
You have
not
not
seen that. My wife has.
Your wife has seen both of them.
I think she has seen both, although she tried to con me into watching the Double XL one on HBO a couple of Saturdays ago, and I passed.
I'm not going to lie to you. The second one, very watchable movie. It's like
Really?
It's just a bunch of bros hanging out on a Winnebago. And they just happen to be strippers. I mean, that's the only part of it that's a little uncomfortable. But the rest of it's fantastic.
Is this what you thought you'd be talking about when you called in right away, Dan?
Actually, yeah. I mean, I was kind of prepared for it. That's why I had a canned response ready.
Dan is familiar with how we roll.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, Dan, dude, thank you for joining us. TBT, we were talking about it earlier in the show. What a great experience it was for us again to be there. The level of talent this year is off the charts. I mean, even better than last year. It just seems like every team is just loaded from top to bottom. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think that's really exactly what happened. I think going to 4 teams really made it more competitive to get in, and then every time you make it more competitive to get in, people really aren't going to waste their time if they're not serious about playing basketball.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And I think as a consequence of that, we really have 64 really competitive teams. Even the 16 seeds played really well and hard. The guys from the Kimchi Express, who were the 16 seed out there in the West, they played their butts off, and they had a great time doing it. They lost by 40 points, but honestly, the smiles on their faces would have made you think that they won. It was great, and I think that the field is just top to bottom incredible. And I think by the time certainly we get down to the final 16 in a couple of weeks in Philadelphia, actually less than 10 days, I guess. You're going to be seeing some of the best basketball of the summer, including the Olympics. So it's going to be pretty awesome to see.
I mean, that's the beauty of that tournament. A team like the Kimchi Express brought a huge crowd.
Yeah.
Genuinely, enjoyed every second of it, taking pictures.
Mm-hmm.
That you get both ends of the spectrum. And those guys could play ball. It wasn't like they couldn't hoop. Those guys could definitely hoop.
Honestly, I was really surprised at how well they could play. I mean, I wasn't expecting that, and all I really have to go on with some of these teams is these verification videos that everybody submits, and theirs were hilarious. Like one kid said that he was playing because he was hurt. Another said that he was playing because he wanted to make sure that his buddy didn't get the ball. So it was really a riot to see them play, and the fans were fantastic. And really, the whole weekend in LA was just great. Had a great time.
That was actually the first team that I checked in on, totally by accident, but seeing the crowd that they brought, it's fun to watch.
Yeah.
Shifting gears real quick, how did Mostly Sports wind
Dan,
up?
can you turn your radio down or your computer down? Is that your computer that's on, Danny?
I don't think so.
No? Okay. It's got to be. But if it's not, no big deal.
Okay. Yeah, because I hear
Bad
it
audio?
too.
Are you talking about my computer?
Yeah, we have a little feedback coming on the other end. So if you're, I don't know if your computer is on or not. Let's get rid of the echo. Oh, I can still hear myself. This is great. Anyway, all right, keep going, Mike. What was your thought?
How did you do the seeding process? I know, we played the BC alumni. They were the 4th seed, Mostly Sports we'll get into the jerseys in a second, 13 seed. I was actually pretty excited when I saw that to see the 13-4 upset coming. After 7 minutes, if we would have called the game, we would have been moving on to the next round. But how did you wind up with the seeding, with the amount of, the talent in this? And you have Utah playing Utah State in the first round. Is that on purpose, or do you guys do it totally randomly?
No, I mean, it's not necessarily randomly. We try to make a good assessment of where we think all the teams are in terms of their background. Are you guys hearing that feedback real bad now?
No, we don't hear it when you go.
All right, good.
Cool.
All right, so anyways, what we try to do is make sure that we're assessing all the teams on a quality basis. And we look at background of where the guys have played, both within their past and in the past year or so. So typically what you'll see in the top seeds are teams that are full of pros and guys that are playing overseas professionally even that season. And then as we get a little bit further down, we're kind of making a crapshoot guess in terms of what perceived quality would be. And I think like in the case like Mostly Sports, all you guys have played college basketball. At your best, you're playing, I think, possession-oriented basketball, 3-point shooting and things like that. So then you end up with a 13.
Yeah, I mean, that was, it seemed like a fair. We were just happy not to be the 16th seed. Now, looking back after the weekend, it was a great weekend of basketball. LA Unified went down, which was shocking. Colorado played great. Utah looked good. The Gonzaga team, if you were redoing the seeds, would you put them as the number 1 seed? Because they were incredibly impressive.
They really were. It's hard to say if we would put them ahead of Team 23 because as good as it looked, so did Team 23, I thought. But I will say that that team looks incredible. And if they shoot the way that they did on Sunday, I don't know that anyone's going to beat them. A 40-point victory, 44-point victory over a team that made it to the Sweet 16 last year is really impressive. So it's really great to see that. They've got a 1-2 punch that I think is as good as any team in the event in Austin Day and Jeremy Pargo. Those two guys are NBA players, just not in the NBA.
And Austin Day was almost, I watched a lot of their games. He was just kind of floating around there. Like he didn't have to assert himself yet. So when he actually does.
I think if you're looking at that team, that's what makes him really scary for anybody else in the West region for sure going forward, is that he didn't have to assert himself yet. It's really just everything was clicking for them. And you can tell, it's really fascinating for me when you have alumni teams that are playing all under the same coach over a period of time. So Notre Dame was like this in 2014. Mm-hmm. Even though those guys had never played together before, there was a style of play that was indicative of the way that Mike Bray plays.
Okay.
And, they're moving the ball, and they all seem to know where to go. And that was what they were saying as they were going through the event. The same thing was true, I thought, of the Few Good Men, is that there's a clear commonality in the way that those guys are playing, and they all seem to be in the right spot at the right time. The ball was going in places where they expected it. So that part of it's really fun to watch, especially in those alumni teams for sure.
Where do you see, all right, let's go in the future, 5 years from now, what does the TBT look like in 5 years?
I think there's a lot of different ways that it could go. I think the initial inception of the idea, I think as I've probably said to you guys before, is that, we want to make it the biggest and the best tournament in the world. And I think to do that, obviously the prize money goes up every year. I don't know how large the field gets, but, originally what we had talked about was $50 million purse and a 1,000-team event.
Wow.
So, did you say $50 million purse?
Yeah, a 5. So that was the original idea. And, if we can get there in 5 years, then I think we're way ahead of schedule. If it takes 20, it takes 20. But I think that, where we want to go with it is to increase the popularity every year, increase the caliber of play. And I think when you look at, where we've gone, hopefully, at least in most people's perceptions between 2014 and 2016, if we continue that rate of quality increase and awareness increase, then, I think we'll get there sooner rather than later.
It feels like I could see this thing I'm sure you do too. Like this thing is going to be global within 3 or 4 years, I feel like.
Oh, sooner than that. 1 or 2, I'd say.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that, Dan?
Yeah, I mean, I think that that's something that we have our eyes on, and there could be some news on that, in the next couple of weeks in particular. But on the international front, what's really interesting to me is just how international the field has become, both in terms of foreign nationals that are competing this year, as well as, players that are playing all around the world. We've got players that are playing in this event that play professionally in Japan, China, Philippines, all throughout Asia, Australia, just on that side of the world.
Mm-hmm.
And then you've got, not to mention all of the D-leaguers and, former NBA players that play from the United States, players from Canada. Literally every country in Europe is represented in the event. And so, when you talk about that and you see where they're coming from, it's not impossible to foresee a scenario where there are international teams, like whole international teams that jump in. And, that was something that we opened it up to legally this year. It was open to international teams to actually jump in. Voting was not, but the teams were.
Okay.
And, we had a couple that nibbled around the edges of it. And, we're thinking about jumping in, and it didn't quite happen, but I suspect that in the next year or two that will probably take place.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to see like a Paris region.
Yeah.
A game in somewhere in Japan, maybe in Fiji. That could be
Yeah.
that could be the place
Fiji.
you go work over in Fiji.
Nice. Not a
I
bad
would
business trip.
definitely do that. It's warm. Yeah.
Dan, do you need us to show up at the Final Four to show off the unis or no?
Actually, yes.
I knew
was
you were
looking
gonna
at
ask.
some pictures.
Okay.
Yeah, I sent you guys an email probably just before I called, but these uniforms are unbelievable. I mean, it's like a highlighter went crazy, but in a really organized way, And I don't know, you can't even describe them. I've never seen anything like that on a basketball court.
It's really like a Jackson Pollock that we were running around in out there.
Especially,
really is.
the
It's a work
contrast
of art,
against an
for sure.
all-black uniform for the BC team.
Well, Danny,
Yeah. Well, those uniforms were an homage to that movie. I think it's Above the Rim.
okay.
There's a 1990s movie that Tupac was in.
Oh, yeah,
and their
Birdie.
uniforms were an homage to that.
Oh, there you go. That's the ultimate compliment right there. I said
Yeah.
on the show last week the best basketball movie
You said
ever
Above the
was
Rim.
Above the Rim.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
See, if you would have told us that before the game, Dan, we would have cut down that deficit a little bit more.
Yeah, I would have been a little more
That would-
inspired.
That would have been my halftime speech.
I went back and listened to watched the game on the Whistle Sports. So anybody out there that wants to go back and watch some games, you can go on the TBT website, thetournament.com. You can go to Whistle Sports. All the games are archived. Incredible live feed. Incredible. The announcer was fantastic.
Yeah.
But then you mic'd up players. You mic'd me up, and I was huffing and puffing. Dude, it was like cardiac arrest like 6 minutes into the game.
Well, I was looking at your box score before we started, and Jay, I think were second. You only had the second. You had the second lowest number of minutes on the team. You couldn't go the full 36.
Could not go the full
No,
36.
I had to come in for a little bit, yeah.
My right arm hurt because I was shooting so much. So
Oh, okay.
I need,
Okay. Somebody did say to me after the game from BC that number 4, he's like a men's league terror. That's what they said.
Nice.
That sounds about right.
That's all right.
I'll take
They
that.
meant it in the most complimentary way possible.
At 42, I'll take any compliment I can get from anybody about anything. So that's great. Well, dude, Danny, thank you, dude, for calling in, man. Best of luck with everything. Everybody out there, follow the tournament. This is going to be like something that you're going to be in on the ground floor because in 10 years, this is going to be something that everybody is talking about. This is a huge deal.
$2 million winner take all. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Thank you, Dan.
August 2nd, ESPN championship game on Tuesday night. What else is on TV on August 2nd? Nothing.
Oh, it's going to be huge. Real quick, you're going to Philly for 10 days.
Yes.
What
What are your recommendations? What should I be doing while I'm there? I've got a couple of days that I might be able to go out to dinner or something.
Well, I was going to say, make sure you eat as much Wawa as possible.
Okay. Of course.
Okay, Wawa. Get some Scrapple.
Yes.
Have you ever had Scrapple?
I have not.
Okay, seriously, I'm going to change your life. Mike Scavati right next to me is from New York City. I brought him a brick of Scrapple back last time I was home. Changed his life. Got
Gone in 8 hours.
Gone in 8 hours. So, like, when you get up for breakfast one morning, you go to a local diner, just say, give me some Scrapple, a side of Scrapple. And then you can text me and be like, wow, that stuff was amazing. Probably cut your life expectancy down by about 5 years.
That's okay.
Worth
I'm
every
expecting
second.
to lift about 150, so 145 would be fine.
But, head downtown. Great restaurants in Philly now. Philly has turned into like a great food town. And you're going there in a great time. Summertime's great in the city. So
Absolutely.
Best of luck, Danny. Thanks for calling in, brother. And we'll be checking in with you again very soon.
Thank you, Dan.
Appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
Yep. Dan Friel, what a great guy.
We're still going. Yeah.
Yeah,
Unbelievable guy.
What a great dude. I mean, they are a first-class organization over there at TBT. They take great care of us.
They take great care of us. It's a pleasure. I wish we could hang around for a few more days. In the tournament, but
it would be nice. I'm hoping we can get in one more year. I feel like we have one more year in us, and then we're all probably just like way too over the hill.
Yeah.
But it would be nice to like go back like next year and actually have like 8 guys.
That's the
and
thing.
See what we could do.
We were given, if we kept shooting like we did, I say we, I was on the team, but
it's all we.
I mean, we were giving them. We were up by 7 or 8 with 7 minutes into the game. We got more guys. If we can get you a breather and Brian, it's a different ball game.
Different ball
as
game,
they say.
But again, great experience. If we actually had to play again on Sunday, it would have been an absolute train wreck.
I wouldn't have been there. How were you feeling Sunday?
Oh, I literally did not leave the house.
Yeah.
I watched
You guys played
15
a lot.
episodes of Bloodlines on Netflix.
Oh, nice.
Which
nice.
Is an incredible show. It's cool to see Coach Taylor as like a dark figure.
Yeah.
From Friday Night Lights.
He took a little time off. He did that weird UFO movie and then took some time off. So everyone forgot about Coach Taylor, and now he's back at it.
He's back at it.
Yeah.
What do you want to do? You take a little break?
Yeah, we're going to take a little break. Coming up on the other side of the break, we have UFC aficionado, we'll call him. And what did you say it was, V? Not a YouTube? An YouTube influencer. That's the title now. We're going to talk to Julien Solomita about UFC. We're going to see what the hell is going on with Pokémon and talk about the Jenna Julien Podcast. A little bit of everything. And we're going to treat him like a younger kid, which he is. And we're going to do a little old man
How old
river
is Julien?
question. He's got to be like 23 by now.
Oh, wow. I didn't know it was like, okay.
Yeah.
We are old. Oh, my
No
God.
shit. Yeah, we are old. All right, so coming up on the other side of the break on Mostly Sports. All right, welcome back to Mostly Sports. Thank you for tuning in. We are very lucky tonight. Actually, that was a great call from Dan Friel from the TBT tournament. Very glad he called in.
Fantastic.
I got to talk to him during the game. I was mic'd up too. It was fun. Moving on to the second hour, the shenanigans begin, and we are lucky to be joined right now by YouTube influencer, I've been told, is the proper title.
Is that what I'm called now?
I think that's what you're called. I consider you a UFC aficionado. I feel like any questions I would have UFC, I would call you.
Influencer, aficionado. Wow, that's quite the.
I know.
This is just the first minute.
Yeah,
And we haven't even introduced. Nobody knows who
don't
he
even
is
know my
just
name
yet. You are one of the two hosts of the Jenna Julien Podcast. Your name is Julien Solomita. Thank you for coming on, bud. How you doing?
I'm good. Thank you for having me. I'm
Of
excited
course.
to be here. This is cool.
I wanted to get you on before UFC 200, and I've been a little bit busy. It got away from me all of a sudden. They were like, UFC 200 tomorrow night. I'm like, all right, I guess we can't get Julien on. A little bit, which I'm actually glad about because
Worked
if
out
we
way
would have
better.
had so much better.
Yeah.
If we would have had you on last Tuesday night, then Wednesday morning, the news broke about,
Yes.
what's his name? John Jones.
What's his name?
What's his name? And since then, the UFC is also sold.
Yeah. Like, right? We should have done it after. So this is better.
This is perfect.
way better.
This is
Yeah.
perfect. What's funny, too, is you guys on your podcast, you guys just did a UFC segment, and you guys ran through everything, which is actually very educational. My first question, and this is the most important, did Jenna think every single thing that happened was weird?
Yeah. I mean, it's just, it's the word of the week, you know? We were looking forward to it like everyone else.
Yeah.
And then one thing after another, and then the fight ends and you're just like left with this feeling of like, what just happened?
Just an
Was that
empty-
UFC 200? Did that just happen? That was so weird.
Yeah.
You know, there were obviously a couple fights on the cards sporadically that were good, that were awesome. But overall, definitely very weird. I think we were in agreement on that.
Now, did you know it was a 3-night event? Jay?
No, I did not know that.
Me neither. I didn't know that until you guys said it.
Yeah, yeah. So they had fights Thursday night, Friday night, and then technically the UFC 200 card on Saturday.
Wow.
And the Thursday and Friday were
Was all that pay-per-view too?
no, those were free. Thursday,
were
Friday
free.
were free. It was just to kind of hype it up.
Okay.
They do multi fights a week sometimes when there's a big event. So they did that just like with triple time, and those fights were good. You know, it got you excited, and you know, I honestly think though Wednesday when Jones dropped out, just everything.
Suck the air out of it.
Yeah.
Not to mention, I feel like during this whole thing, interviews with Dana White and all that, not only is he dealing with his star being out of the biggest event in the history of the sport,
Like a nightmare.
but he's
scenario.
also trying to broker a deal to sell the UFC,
Yeah.
which he bought in 2001 for $2 million. Just sold it for $4 billion. Now, these guys used to give me shit a long time ago because I would say UFC's on a historic rise. You look at the numbers.
He'd
all
say
this
it every
stuff.
week. Historic.
It's on a historic
It's
rise.
historic.
And now this is now officially the biggest profit of any business in the history of time.
I mean, you can't argue with
Can't
that.
argue.
I mean, I apologized to Julian before when he walked in the studio because we had you on a couple years ago.
Yeah.
And I was definitely like one of those UFC haters. I hate because I worked at Cabo and they always showed all the fights and all the dudes in their affliction
dude, I get
shirts.
It. Yeah, we worked at a bar. I hated every UFC fan who came into our bar.
Oh, yeah.
in the South, right? When you
Yeah,
guys,
yeah, yeah.
I just couldn't
They'd
get
order
into it.
Corona if they ordered anything and just stand there for 3 hours.
Yeah.
And in all honesty, like even like the Chuck Liddells of the world and all those guys, they just seem like barroom brawlers to me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But like these guys now, I've since come around. These dudes are like fucking assassins.
Yeah.
Like well-oiled machines who have like 10 different disciplines of fighting, and I mean it's great. And DraftKings helps. Do you do the DraftKings?
I don't, but
You
it's
don't?
huge. I
It's
should do it.
huge.
Yeah.
Dude, I actually cashed
We
in the
have-
MMA this week. I was so stoked.
If we have him as a resource, we got to
Oh,
be doing this all the time.
We could fucking retire. We
Well,
could be
yeah,
doing
where's
this
my
on a
cut?
beach somewhere.
UFC will give him 10%.
That sounds
How's
good.
that? Or he could
Done.
just come in whenever he
Oh,
wants.
that's easy for me. No risk.
All right, so here's a question for two guys who like we follow it, but we're not crazy about it. And again, this is going off of what I listened to you guys say. This is how you guys started your show. Cormier, we all saw the video of when Dana White told him that Jones tested positive.
Yeah.
We don't know technically what it is yet, right? I know you guys got into it a little bit.
Yeah, I think the short story is something along the lines of a DHEA containing ingredient, which it goes a lot deeper. Like if you get into the know the actual names of the supplements and the whatever. But yeah, basically it's some shit that most people know not to take.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and I know you nailed it perfectly when you said the way he was saying, I'm sorry. You wouldn't be talking like that if you did it by mistake.
Yeah,
he knew what he was doing.
Yeah.
That was great. I'm glad you brought that up. But you saw that it was a very heartfelt moment when Cormier, and the thing that got me is the way when he looked at Dana White, he said, I'm training so hard for this fight.
Yeah.
Then he's been training months for the same guy. And I equated this to you playing the Patriots all week, and then Sunday morning someone's like, nope, you're playing the Seahawks.
Yeah, 100%.
Anderson Silva stepped in 48 hours notice.
Yeah.
Didn't seem to be giving a shit about this fight. Was totally doing it for the paycheck.
Yeah.
And then Cormier got booed.
Yeah.
Why did he get booed?
It's one of those just 100% lose-lose scenarios. Cormier was thrown into this awesome opportunity. Not that he was 100% going to win the fight against Jones, but he had an opportunity to get that fight back. And he worked and worked and worked, and he was going into that fight as like the underdog. People wanted him to go beat Jones. And then Jones pulls out, and he's fighting a really, really not prepared Anderson. Anderson literally came from the beach. Like, he wasn't even training for a fight.
Exactly.
He wasn't in the gym regularly. So, yeah, he didn't give a shit.
What did he get paid, do you think? Silva.
I would say at least $1 million.
Get out of here.
I would say at least $1 million. Yeah.
Wow.
They don't let him, he's still a huge draw. It doesn't matter. Like, he saved the card.
I was gonna say that's a great pool to be able to pull Anderson Silva out.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
2 days before a fight.
And that's, he got paid. Like, it is what it is. People at the fight felt like they were pissed from the first fight. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was just a bad
energy,
taste.
It didn't feel like people were hyped up. And so all it took was like, oh, you took him down 2 times in a row. We're going to boo you now. Because it's
I
not
can't
the
believe they
same
booed
fight
the guy.
that people bought tickets for.
And it was never
everyone's
going to
bitter.
meet expectations.
No. Even if Anderson knocked him out, at that point, it's like a freak show.
Yeah.
Now,
what did he do, like, pre-fight, when you found out, all right, I'm not fighting Jones, you still got to train because I'm sure Dana White said, I'm going to get somebody for you. They're not going to be at that level.
Yeah.
Like, how does his training change when he finds out you got Silva in 36 hours?
Well, training's not even the word for it. It's just mindset.
Yeah.
Because all the training's over. You just have. I mean, I think he probably knew it was Anderson because he knows the UFC. He knows Dana. He's like, this is what they're going to try to do. He has to get the win, no matter what. You need to win that fight because if you lose, everything you've worked for in the last 2-3 years of all the giant names you've beaten doesn't matter anymore because you lost to an unmotivated Anderson who no one thought was going to win the fight. You have to win. So he made it happen. He took him down, beat him up a little bit, and he didn't risk it on the feet. Like, that was Anderson's only chance on the feet.
I like how they don't cancel the fights when guys get hurt or guys get busted for drugs. Well, didn't Conor McGregor lose to a guy that Nate Diaz? Is that who?
Yeah, he stepped in for Dos Anjos.
He just stepped in and
At a higher weight class, too, right? And that's cool. Like, good for him.
For sure.
And now he's getting shit on, too.
And that's the respectable thing about all these guys, though.
Yeah.
They're all fucking gamers.
Yeah.
They wanna fight.
They want to fight. They're not going 7 months, but they're like, can we fight now?
Yeah.
It's very respectable.
They were fighting. I remember, listening to interviews. I love listening to interviews with Dana White because he's no bullshit.
Yeah.
He said, guys, when the whole McGregor thing was happening, he said, McGregor's a star right now, but he's got to do press. He doesn't want to do press. He's out of here. And he keeps such a tight leash on these guys because they say, and I think he was on Cowherd, he said the next Conor McGregor is like a month or 2 behind McGregor.
Yeah.
Someone's going to step up and you're not going to remember him, and that's that.
Yeah, no, I love how he made an example of Conor. Nobody's bigger than the UFC.
Yeah. I mean, he's done a great job.
I like when Aldo won and went over and started talking shit to McGregor.
Yeah. No, that got me a little hyped up too.
Yeah, that's got to be coming down the pike pretty soon, right?
Yeah.
Those two in a rematch.
Yeah. No, that'll be a great fight. I mean, I'm not even the hugest fan of Conor fighting Nate again. What do we need to see there?
Right.
First of all, he's abandoning his belt 2 weight classes below again. How's that fair to any of these 45ers? Right? Aldo's supposed to be wearing the interim belt right now. He's champ. Like, give him the real belt. Conor left. I want to see Conor fight Aldo again.
What does the sale do for UFC right now, for the viewers?
Honestly, so it's so fresh, right? There's very little information that's come out so far. Supposedly, it's going to be better for the fighters. They're going to get more money, which has been a long time coming because the last couple of years have been kind of a shit show for the fighters.
Yeah.
And as far as day to day, it looks like everything's going to be running relatively the same. Dana's going to still be there.
He's going to be working there.
Yeah, running the show. And, I think more information, I think seeing a couple fights under this new ownership will show us more.
Okay.
But right now, I think it's mostly speculation.
I wonder how that works for him. I mean, he's not, he's working for somebody now, right? Because he's not the owner.
He's clocking in now, yeah.
He's clocking in.
Well, yeah, but he cashed a sweet check.
Oh, hell yeah.
Well, how much did he make off of that?
What, like a couple $100 million, right?
Probably more, right?
Well, it was a $4 billion sale, right?
Yeah.
How much does he own?
That's the thing. I didn't know.
Yeah.
I didn't know if he went in 50-50 with his partner.
The
Yeah.
Frittata brothers, is that who it is?
Fertitta.
Fertitta brothers, yeah.
Frittata sounds better though.
Frittata sounds
delicious.
fucking
I'm
delicious,
getting
dude.
hungry.
Love a frittata right now. All right. When I think of somebody who is absolutely terrifying and who, like, my absolute nightmare would be to see in the back alley or, like, just, I mean, Street Fighter, it's Brock Lesnar.
Yeah.
He just looks just not human. When you were talking about Ronaldo before, when he got hurt, he looks
Yeah.
like a James Cameron character, set up with a green screen on a soccer field.
Yeah.
Brock Lesnar just looks. I'm terrified just talking about him.
Yeah.
Did I hear that correctly? That he made $2.5 million
Supposedly,
for
yeah.
that fight?
Yeah, it's not confirmed, but that's what people are saying.
But it's somewhere in that ballpark, even if it goes down to 2 or whatever.
Yeah.
That's
No, I would bet that it's close.
there's this much money involved. I remember when we used to watch UFC. This is back in the South days, not 5 years ago.
Yeah.
These guys were just working their ass off to get the $20,000 bonus for like fight of the night.
Yeah.
Because that was going to take them through to the next.
That's still happening. That's the crazy part. The separation between the average Joe fighter in the UFC and Lesnar and
Okay.
McGregor, like it's crazy the gap. You know,
Now, who's negotiating these for Lesnar and McGregor? Do they have agents who say that this is the draw?
I'm
and-
sure they have agents. I'm sure that they know their worth. Conor, Lesnar, all these, Jones before he started acting like an idiot. They all have this idea that is true, that they have a crazy draw power for the UFC, bigger than any other fighter. And so they know it. They get paid. Like, it's not fair. Like, you see these other fighters who are just, they're kind of dud personalities. You're like, I don't really care about, he can't promote a fight, but he's a killer fighter.
Right.
And he just makes peanuts, it sucks, but I don't know.
Wow. That's
But Lesnar, I give it to him. Like, I was so excited to see him, and I'm still excited that I got to see him. Like when we said goodbye to him, I thought he was never coming back for sure.
No, he didn't quit though, right? He had an injury or something.
Yeah, diverticulitis, and he lost, and it just didn't look good. It was like
he'd been losing, right?
He had been losing. He lost to Kane, then he lost to Overeem, and it was just like, okay, he's done with real fighting. He's just gonna go wrestle forever now. So to see him come back and actually win a fight against, I would say, top 5 heavyweight is fucking cool.
Now,
that guy was really expensive on DraftKings. The guy he was fighting.
Hunt.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
So what do you mean expensive? How does it work? Like,
So you have $50,000, all right, in your account to buy fighters. So you have to buy 5 fighters.
okay.
And each fighter costs a different amount of money. So Jim Miller, that's a guy, right?
Yeah.
So I had Jim Miller.
that's a guy, right?
That is a guy. He was the first fight on the card. He won.
in the first round, which
Yeah.
was huge. I got a ton of points from that.
Nice.
I can't believe they have DraftKings UFC.
So he cost like $10,500. All right, so that like
That's high for Jim Miller. He's
it
on
was-
a losing streak.
It was
this is
pretty
why we
high.
need this guy.
Exactly, but like, it's
But
strange
you
to-
knew, yeah.
I listened to a 1-hour YouTube show on MMA to get ready for this fucking this draft.
He does work, man. This guy's like a NASCAR savant right now.
a lot of free time, Julian. But then you have to pick a couple low people. So Lesnar was only like, I think he was only like 8,800, which is very, very cheap. And the guy Hunt,
He's cheaper because he's not a favorite.
because he wasn't the favorite.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it.
And I just lucked out. I had him.
Nice.
I'm gonna get you into this, bro. We're
You might-
retiring. We're
I'm already,
retiring.
I'm already kind of
Retired.
excited. I mean,
All right, so I listened to your podcast, and you guys did a hell of a job. I'm curious, you do a podcast with Jenna. Was she into this beforehand, or is it you who got her into this? Because she sounded
UFC?
like an expert. Yeah.
no, I mean, surprisingly, she was into it. When we met, she was already into it.
Really?
Yep.
She sounded. I mean, she
Oh,
knew her shit. She
she's-
was getting pissed off at people.
Oh yeah,
and-
you know Mark, our good
Yeah.
friend Mark, who knows a lot about fighting and MMA and even the history, like old stuff. He's like an encyclopedia. He can have a conversation with her, and she knows her shit.
Yeah.
So when we have UFC podcasts, it's not like I'm dumbing anything down. Like we like it, and it's like a fun thing. So yeah, when she was being honest about how every fight on the card was like weird, and then Miesha Tate was, she lost, and then Juliana Pena won. Like what is happening? It just felt wrong. The whole thing felt wrong.
Right.
Yeah, and we had an idea of what it was going to be, and it was nothing like that.
You think they're going to try and make up for it in 01? Obviously, they're going to try to, but
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to. I think they were going for epic, right?
Yeah.
Because it's 200. It's like the even
a big
number.
one.
It's going to be hard to try to out epic 200, even if it wasn't that great. They have to wait till 225 or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. But yeah, they'll definitely turn on the Jets.
Backtracking for a second, what's next for John Jones? Is he done?
People have been saying he's possibly going to get suspended for 2 years.
Okay. So effectively ending his career, basically.
That's an eternity in UFC, right?
It is a long time. It is.
How old is he?
I think he's 26, 27.
Okay.
But that's 2 years of like
The
him
2
being
years,
more of
the
a
2 years,
knucklehead.
yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah,
It's
like he doesn't have anything
2 more
to look
years,
forward to.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
nothing
So-
to keep him in line.
Yeah.
So in
doing
essence,
a good
yeah,
job.
it could very well mean he's just done. I mean, I think a lot of people have just kind of had it with him. So
Speaking of John Jones, in your opinion, how many of these guys are taking HGH, PEDs, steroids, whatever you want to call them?
93%.
You think 93%? Okay, exact number.
So it's a level playing field.
That's the thing.
That's-
Yeah.
I'm pro steroids.
So am
in
I.
all
I
sports
think
and all
we
things.
could say the show is pro steroids. Baseball especially. We need them back.
I mean, you look at the scope of all pro sports, it jumps up to like 97.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nobody is
And are they
not
just
on
they're
something.
just staying? Are these guys making enough money that they could hire the chemists and the doctors that the baseball player, the A-Rods do
You
to get
don't-
ahead of the curve?
You don't need chemists and doctors. You need to know how to beat a basic drug test, which a lot of these guys, they're not taking these crazy drugs. They're just taking things that are helping them recover faster.
Right.
They can train harder. It's very simple stuff. And so when you look at drug tests, most of the drug tests are pretty consistent with how they're done, when they're done.
They're not random in UFC or
Well, even
anything?
if they are random, you kind of get the protocol. You know how to cycle off stuff. It's something that
Make
you
that
don't
seem
even.
so easy though. Like, cycle off stuff.
But
How about you cycle off?
everyone builds it up to be like you need like,
Nachos?
I was gonna say rosé.
Cycle off some
I was gonna say
nachos.
some rosé or something. Cycle off your wine.
My Taco Bell habit.
I need to cycle off Taco Bell. No, it's really not as scientific as people think it is. That's why so many people are taking drugs and not getting busted.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're not
That's,
cheating,
I
you're
mean,
not
this is my
trying.
opinion.
That's a good way to say it because
That's-
we're pro steroids
should
on
live
this
by
show.
that. Yeah.
93%. Really.
I think 90 in the UFC.
Now, who are these? Now I'm curious about the 7%. Who are these guys? They don't stand a
Purists.
chance, right?
I think, I don't know about. I think they're probably the most athletically gifted ones because
Okay.
they don't need
Like a Silva kind of guy?
Yeah, but I think he was on at one point.
Yeah.
Well, he was on at one point, but I think guys who just don't really rely on heavy training to win fights, they kind of have natural abilities that they can rely on, and or they're against taking drugs. Really, like a lot of people say they're against drugs, and then they're
Right.
on. But yeah, I'd say there's just a select few that are not doing it for whatever reason. I don't know.
Like Brock Lesnar, dude. Like that dude. You look at him, you're just like, holy shit.
Yeah, there's no way in any scenario ever that he's clean. No
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's just too big.
What's up? All right, let's talk about the women fighting.
Mhm.
That's one thing I haven't been able to like really dive into yet. Like that, it still kind of makes me uncomfortable
Why?
watching the women fight. I don't know. That's just something about like our society and domestic abuse and women getting hit. And I know it's another woman hitting another woman, but that's one of those like taboo things where it's
I don't
just-
think you're alone in thinking that. I think it's
Yeah.
taboo because people, have been made to believe it's taboo and women fighting. I think some of the female fighters are so incredibly like skilled and
Mhm.
technical in some of their fights. It's like incredible to watch. And I was talking about women MMA like before, like it was even allowed in the UFC, before it was even really big. Like this, what you're saying right now, 100% of people were thinking
Okay.
when it was still happening and it was still big. This is when Ronda Rousey was still fighting, just not anywhere where anyone could see really. And it's grown so big because people are realizing that they are badass fighters.
I mean, I've always said this. If you want to teach a kid how to play a sport, have him watch a girl, like a professional woman do it. Like women have the perfect swings in golf, perfect swings in tennis because they're not strong enough to overcome. Like they don't have enough athleticism to overcome their.
Yeah, but they're not
weakness.
playing with men.
Yeah.
They don't have to.
Here come the phone
Yeah.
calls.
No, I was complimenting. Well, I was complimenting women right there.
No, I
They're
think-
not athletic enough.
No,
Wait,
well,
wait, is that news? Women
No.
are as athletic as men?
I'm not
Are you
going to argue
kidding
with
me?
you, but I'm saying
That's
that
not
some
even
people
an argument.
might
but
get
you
offended
said,
by
you
that.
said that they
How
were.
could you get offended
You said
at
that
that?
they had to be technically more skilled to compete with the strength of men, right?
Well, no, I'm saying they have to be technically more skilled to be great at their sport at the highest level. They can't overcome their deficiencies with athleticism, where a lot of guys in the NBA.
I disagree. I
Yeah.
think you look at a lot of sports, especially fighting, when you see the new champ, Amanda Nunes. She's a
Mhm.
monster.
Yeah.
She's strong. She's quick. She is full-blown athletic. She is top 1% of female athletes in the world. You look at her, just the way she moves.
Well, what's next for is Rousey coming back?
That's what I was going to ask.
Yeah. I mean, they put out a promo with her today, wearing some Reebok. I don't know how she's gonna come back.
She's
but
too Hollywood now, though, right?
I don't know, man. Rousey.
Is she gonna? She didn't even.
She's
have
just
time to
if she's
train,
gonna
though.
come back, she's got to come back soon because people are stopping caring.
Yeah.
You know, like
Now
people
what?
are just,
All right, so that's interesting too. Is these fighters like I was talking about before with the next Conor McGregor? These people, they're flashing the pants so quick that at what point are people going to say, "Oh, Rousey's fighting this weekend"? Who cares?
when she loses again.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but even before that, like if she loses again, yeah, I agree. She's done.
No, if
she has a nice Hollywood
if she
career.
keeps winning, like if she gets back on this like winning streak where she's dominating people, like she's gonna have regained that star power.
Does she come back and fight the champ immediately?
I don't know. I don't think they've announced.
No.
I don't think the UFC wants that because the UFC wants her to get back on top because she's a huge market.
because she's a huge draw. Yeah, it's a business.
Yeah.
What
They'll give
historic
her a
business,
warm-up
by the
fight.
way. Historic.
Very fucking historic.
Will we ever see a girl fight a guy?
Not in the UFC.
No.
You crazy? You think they're gonna allow that happen?
Well, that's why I'm asking. Anything goes in this thing.
No. They just sold for $4 billion. These guys know what they're doing.
I know. That's why this would be smart. I would watch that.
All right,
I
let's
would
Yeah, but
watch
that
that.
you would also watch a freak show if you're at a freak show. It's like they're trying to, as much as they can, legitimize themselves as a real sport. Even though they are in the entertainment business, they can't go and do. I mean, I would say UFC 200 is as close to a circus as they'll ever get.
Okay.
You know, Mark Hunt fighting Brock Lesnar off the shelf for 4 years.
Right.
Right. Anderson Silva flying from Brazil with a dad bod.
Yeah, in the UFC, that's a
With
circus.
the
Yeah,
dad
yeah.
bod.
Yeah, with a dad bod.
All right, let's say I write you a check for $5 billion right now, and you go buy the UFC. You're the czar. You're the president. You're the new Dana White. What would you do to take it to another level? How would you change it?
I just answered that question.
No, that's it.
Men fighting women.
No, what would
No,
you
that's
do?
his
What would you
answer.
do?
Yeah,
so
that's
he would
his-
tank the company.
Exactly.
Yeah. This is a
This is a guy that has like his own car stolen. They get the insurance money if it breaks down. All right, he's shady.
I was behind the bar with this guy. I know what he's
He
up
knows.
You know what he's
to.
talking
He knows what I'm capable of.
This is going to be the most boring answer, but I would pay the fighters a lot more. I would make a new system where fighters they were under contract. They could sign multi-fight, like year-long salary deals where they're getting paid no matter fucking what. You know, they lose a fight, they lose 2 fights. It's okay because they know that they can feed their family. They know they could pay their coaches, fly to the fights. This whole thing where all these fighters are scrapping for pennies. It's not a good look,
Right.
and it's hard for a fan to ever really get on the UFC's side if that's how the fighters are being
The
treated.
suits are making all the money.
Especially when you know they have the money.
Right.
You know,
So you think that opens up a bigger market, like for fighters? Like you're gonna get better fighters. You're gonna get
you're
more
going to get
people.
happier fighters,
Yeah.
and you're going to get fans more engaged because, like, if you were to delve into some of the online forums right now and in the last 2 years, people hate the Reebok thing. They hate the way fighters aren't getting paid. Like it's just not something that in my opinion benefits the company. Like you get rid of Reebok because they've clearly messed it up. You allow them to get their own sponsors so they can get paid, and you pay them appropriately. It's
Like
very
any other
simple.
sport,
like any
kinda
other
like a
sport.
business,
It's
yeah.
like, yeah, you're in the entertainment business, but pay your athletes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. Huh. Any other UFC questions? Because I gotta move on.
I mean, fuck, I could
With some
talk
stuff.
UFC all night. I'm fired up.
I enjoy it. This is why I'm so glad you came on because
Yeah.
we've been talking UFC for 23 minutes. We can't do that, you and me. We would have been done by
I would listen.
minute 3.
I would listen to you guys try,
Oh,
and
it's
then I would get
awful.
so frustrated. I would call
You'd be,
in.
I would love you to. That's
set
like
us
when we
straight.
talk politics.
Oh,
We always have to put up a disclaimer. We're like, we're 2 idiots who have no idea what we're talking about. Don't get offended
It's an
by
abortion.
what we say.
It's not good.
It's awful. And that's like a step up. Oh, I meant to ask you this. What's the minor leagues for UFC? Like, how does that work?
There's no official minor leagues. The UFC, they get fighters from kind of everywhere.
Okay.
There's just different organizations. There's more competing organizations like Bellator, where they view themselves as like a direct competitor to the UFC, which technically they are. Obviously, they're a lot smaller, less popular. But when fighters, for whatever reason, leave the UFC, even good fighters who are in their prime, they go to Bellator for the most part.
Okay.
And then there's all these small, fighting leagues, I guess you can call them, everywhere. UFC Fight Pass. It's like their streaming service. It's like a monthly subscription. They basically go to other affiliates and say, we'll show your show of fights on Fight Pass so our fans can watch it. And so
And then
I
if
think
someone
that has
is
something to do
big
with
and
it.
has some personality.
Yep.
Who's your favorite fighter?
Wow. Favorite fighter. I really like Carlos Condit.
Okay. Why?
He's I think he's like a special fighter right now because he has just enough athleticism to survive against some of the best opponents in the entire world, but his game plans and the way he fights, his style, it's just very cool to watch. He's like one of the craftiest fighters, and he's funny on Snapchat.
See, that's the answer. That's what we wanted. The
Yeah.
Snapchat stuff. I got to ask you about Snapchat. Who's your favorite fighter? Jay.
It's a great question, Mike.
Thank you.
I'll tell you right now. That's just me buying time to think of
You want me
somebody.
to answer first?
Uriah Faber.
I like that dude. I know that guy.
I like
He's
his
cool.
hair. I like
Yeah.
his name.
Yeah, he's hard not to like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's
there
got
you go.
a lot of spunk, that kid.
That was a legit answer right
Yeah,
there.
yeah. I'm gonna go Brock Lesnar.
Dude,
because
I've
I'm
come a
terrified
long
of
way
him.
since you were on the show last.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm
I remember when I pitched him. You were like, UFC, dude. What? You're gonna talk UFC, really?
It was like a
this
5-minute
guy
conversation.
coming on?
What are we, you know?
UFC. God, the Cowboys just played. What are
Now
we
I'm
doing?
absolutely giddy to talk about it.
Now you're gambling.
I'm gambling
heavily
on it. Yeah.
on-
It's amazing. I mean, you gamble on anything, I'm going to be interested in it.
Of course.
You know.
Yeah.
So roller derby could be my new favorite sport if I could gamble on it.
All right. So you're all over Snapchat.
It's fun.
I call you
Yeah.
the Snapchat king. There's
I'll
not
take that.
any time that I go on Snapchat.
Oh, because
and-
I spam your feed. Is
and
that why?
don't see you at the
Okay.
top of my list
So
every
I'm-
time.
Yeah. Okay.
One thing I got to say, and then I ask you guys, enough with the puppy faces. All right.
What, the filters?
Enough with the puppy faces.
You mean me or all of Snapchat? Because if
Both.
You,
I'm saying
all right,
both.
All right. All right.
It's fun. No.
Point
They
taken.
give you options every day. I know that, right?
There's a couple new ones that alter your voice. Have you seen those?
No.
There's a B one where your face
I
becomes.
saw
a
the B one, but I
Oh,
didn't know
you
you
have
could.
a higher voice in it.
Oh, I didn't know that. It's
pretty great.
That's pretty major.
Pretty great.
Now, when you don't have to answer this, you get to answer after. When you put up a My Story snap, and it stays up for 24 hours, like roughly how many people are you checking out your thing?
120, 130K.
130K.
By contrast,
K.
by contrast, how many people are checking out yours?
I see. That's funny because I was gonna say like 12 or 13 for me,
Yeah.
and then he said 120, 130. I'm like, all right, that's a little bit more than me. And then he put the K after it. All right, so along those
Snapchat's
lines,
awesome though because the reason why it's so high and so consistent is because every single morning when someone wakes up, they just want to see what people are up to, and it's
Yeah.
the quickest and easiest way to do it.
yeah,
That's why Snapchat's
I do
so
Sports
brilliant.
Center on that every morning.
Yeah.
because I don't care about the soccer. Nope.
Yep.
Nope. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's awesome. All right, so just to put numbers into perspective in the whole social media world, obviously you do a podcast with Jenna. How is she, by the way? I haven't seen her.
She's
in
great.
forever.
She sends her regards. She
Nice.
misses you.
Good,
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
I'd love to have any of you guys on the show anytime, all the time, because
Yeah.
I love talking about the stuff that we know nothing about. Wait
This
till
is
the next
education tonight because
So,
I know
I'm learning
nothing
about DraftKings. So
There you
I'm
question.
on
Oh,
good.
you're in.
Yeah.
You're
We're
in.
bartering.
So just to put things in perspective, you guys do a podcast together. Your podcast page on Twitter has 31,000 followers.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Might seem like a lot. That's a lot. It's more than we got. That's a lot. On Twitter, you have 130,000 followers.
Yeah.
Again, that's a lot. That's a lot.
It's a lot.
Jenna has 4 million followers on Twitter. 4 million.
It's not that much.
Just 4 mil.
Again, I'll say it again. That's a lot.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. Now on Instagram, she
Is
has
this a new
four. She has
segment?
another 4 million,
Called That's a lot.
and you have 500,000 on Instagram.
Yeah.
The reason why guys like us are so fascinated with this is because like we're on Instagram and Snapchat. We're new to this whole thing, but like
Yeah.
we didn't grow up with this.
No.
You guys are dominating this area, and this is everything nowadays. Social media aspect.
Yeah.
That's why I was curious about Snapchat, about how many people are viewing
Yeah.
your thing. Do you check to see like, oh, I wonder if Scavati checked out my my puppy face today, or do you just put it up and then forget about it?
I don't do that because I don't even know how do you do that? Do you click on the single snap and then you see who?
How do you do that? I got to tell this
He's
kid everything.
asking
I
you,
got to
buddy.
show him how to do Snapchat.
Do you mean like look for your name in the list? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay, no, I don't do that.
Okay, with 130,000
Yeah, like,
followers.
I
that's
mean,
a
I'm
lot.
not trying-
Scavati. No.
I gotta
God,
know
he
if
didn't see my-
Scavati
he didn't
looked
see
at
my-
this B face snap.
Yeah, I put a picture of toast on my face. I hope Scavati
If
sees
there's
it,
a snap
you
that I
know?
need you to see that much, I'm gonna
Send
save
it
the
to me
snap
right away?
and send it to you.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, do that. Just no puppy faces. I
I'm
know
gonna send
I'm
you
getting a puppy
solely
face later.
puppy faces from now on.
All right, so now that we're regressing back to our old men thing, and I don't know if you know anything about this, what the hell is going on with this Pokemon thing?
Oh man, you guys need to know.
That's why we brought you in. We
This
didn't want
is-
to talk about
this
UFC.
is-
We wanted to
this
butter you up a
is
little bit to talk
The
about this
most
shit.
incredible thing I think I've ever seen happen. I'm not even joking. This is blowing my mind every day.
It's blowing my mind a little bit too, and I still don't exactly know what's going on.
So, are you familiar with Pokemon? Just plain Pokemon.
No.
We were a little bit old for that too. That was like 96, 97.
I played Pokemon growing up.
Yeah.
It's basically a game where you're a Pokemon trainer in this world where they're not animals, they're called Pokemon. And they're in the wild. There's a ton of different types of them. And you can collect Pokemon. and you're a trainer, so you train them by battling them with other Pokemon, and you can battle other trainers, and it's just a whole fun thing where you get to collect your whole squad of Pokemon and go out and find other Pokemon. That was it, and it's now turned into this game on the iPhone called Pokemon Go, where it's something called augmented reality. Okay, so if you're looking at your phone, it looks like I'm, looking at the camera. So if I'm pointing towards you, I see you. Yeah. But there's a Pokemon on the screen too. Like it's augmented onto reality. So I'm seeing like Pikachu on your shoulder, right? And I can catch it. So basically, the most brilliant part about Pokemon Go is that they've implemented this world within our world. So everywhere you go, if you're on the app, you see that there's Pokestops where you can go get prizes or Pokeballs or things that you need. Or there's different Pokemon you can catch. It's the most insane thing. And you go anywhere right now, everyone's playing it.
And people are just walking around with their phones
Literally
out, like,
everyone is fucking playing it. I just walked outside on Hollywood and I saw 10 people on this one corner all trying to catch the same Pokemon. I was trying to catch one Pokemon. This guy comes up to me. He's like, "Oh, did you catch Charmander?" I'm like, "Holy shit, you caught him?" And he's like, "Yeah."
But everyone knows like he's in the area.
I would say everyone's older than 18.
Wow. But there's like the same Pokemon in the area for all you guys?
Yeah, but that's per area. So we live in the valley, right? We have different Pokemon than over here. So last night we went over to...
So your Pokemans drive vans in the valley, right?
Man.
There we go.
There's the first. Is that the first dad joke? Okay. All right, that's good. No, we went by the water, and there's a completely different set of Pokemon that you can catch. So it's like you're motivated to go different places in the real world to catch different Pokemon. And we saw hundreds and hundreds of people at like 10 p.m. on a Monday night.
Oh my God!
And this is taking over everything right now.
Everything. Yeah. Nobody's doing anything else.
Like, this might be the end. I'm serious. Like, this is crazy. When I texted you the other day, I said, Julian's coming on. We're going to talk Pokemon, UFC. You said, what the fuck is Pokemon? And I said, learn it, because I knew a little bit.
Came out less than a week ago, right?
It's insane. Yeah.
Like a week. Yeah.
About a week.
And everybody's doing this.
Everyone.
Are we jumping on this, you and I?
No. You have to.
Dude, I don't have time. I'm trying to Periscope. I didn't have time to read this girl's question, let alone...
Are you Periscoping right now?
Yeah, we're going to Periscope. Here we go.
Whoa. Did you just like have a sneak Periscope going this whole time?
No, I just put it on.
Oh, hi, Periscope.
There we go. Yeah, Periscope. There's 2 people in there right now.
Huge.
I just turned it on. No, I knew like a little bit about it, but I don't have time for this shit. What are you talking about? You couldn't even answer my call today. You're going to Pokemon?
I just feel like I'm missing out. I mean, the way
I would Pokemon before I took your call, to be fair.
That's everybody with Pokemon before they
the
took my call.
excitement with which you just talked about that makes me actually want to try it.
Here's the thing, okay? It's every so odd months a new app comes out, right? And everyone's talking about it. It's like, oh, this is the new app. Holy shit, this is what it does. This is different because you go out into the world and you're literally meeting strangers everywhere you go talking about Pokemon. Like, it's the most social I've been on my phone ever.
Which is a step, like an uptick for how like antisocial this phone has made us.
Yeah.
Now, how big are these regions where you're looking for this little dude?
It's the entire world.
No, but like if like there's 5 of us in here right now.
Yeah.
And we're looking for some fucking Pokemon running around in here. Yeah. And then we go outside. There's another one outside? Like how they're just all over the place.
They're everywhere.
Yeah. I would say, within like 20 or 30 yards radius of your body at all times, there's a certain amount.
And what happens when you find them? You get a point?
Yeah, it pops up, right? It says a wild, you see it on your map. You see them on your map. So you click on them and they pop up in reality. So if you're looking at a mailbox, they're in front of the mailbox and you swipe up to throw the Pokeball. Hopefully you catch them. And then if you catch them, you have them in your collection of Pokemon now.
And now the other people can't get him?
No. There's like, it's not
you
like
don't go anywhere?
You're competing for Pokemon. Yeah. It's,
Is there like a leaderboard?
I think that's where you lost me.
Yeah.
I was down with a little competition.
Well, no,
like
there's competition.
Elbow some like young 15-year-old girl.
But it's not for catching Pokemon.
Okay.
It's once because you and I can catch the same Pokemon. But once we have our Pokemon, there are gyms. Okay? So a gym is where you battle your Pokemon against another person's Pokemon. So there's these towers on the map, every couple blocks where you go. Right? And these towers have these Pokemon trainers who have conquered that gym. So you can go up to them, look at their Pokemon, and say, all right, let's battle. And then you battle their Pokemon. If you win, you get to have the gym.
That sounds fun, actually.
But is there like a leaderboard? Like, oh, shit, I got to catch up to Julian. He got 12 Pokemons today.
You can...
Stole 4 gyms.
I don't think... At this point, I don't think you can just like look up people's usernames and their stats. You have to like ask your friend what they are and stuff.
See that? Yeah, again, that's where you lost me. I would love it if I could check in, be like, shit, Julian stayed up all night and got 12 more Pokemon.
I hope people are getting laid off this.
Well, everyone's tweeting
like rolling
about it.
around. You meet like
This
a
is a hot
chick.
topic.
You're
I
like,
guarantee it. I guarantee
people
it.
are hooking up
Oh,
with
yeah.
this.
I mean, you're going to include drinking somehow and hooking up. Now, people are finding dead bodies everywhere.
I don't know.
I know
about
that's
that.
like that. Some girl found a dead body in a river looking for a Pokemon, and that became like national news.
Yeah, I mean,
I witnessed a murder.
You witnessed a murder?
yeah, but that was proved to be a hoax. No. Yeah, I watched that earlier today. It was he was basically live. First of all, he's an Uber driver and he's live streaming on YouTube Gaming. All right, come on, guy, pick a job here, right? So he's like he claims to be watching someone dump a body, so he's calling the cops and it's all on the live stream, but it was proved to be fake.
Was it?
Yeah.
Oh, I only saw the first one.
Yeah,
Porp fam says hi.
Port fam,
Yeah,
nice,
nice. Yeah, we're getting a lot of people in here now.
sweet.
Yeah, we're talking Pokemon Go right now with Julian. Now you're playing.
Oh yeah.
How many hours a day? That's insane. That I just asked how many hours a day, not like how many minutes. How many hours a day are you playing?
It'd be easier to tell you how many hours a day I'm not playing.
That's crazy. Like, did you play on the way
You see
over
this?
here?
This is I have to carry this places now. This is my battery pack because
Because your phone died?
Oh, yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
That's an intense battery pack.
I mean,
too.
I
That's not
take
the
this
little
most
stick.
places with me because I always like to have spare battery. But you need it with this. So like, look, this is me right here. This is Pokemon Go.
That's you?
Oh, that's
me.
you.
Yeah, that's me. So this little stopper here, you see that blue circle?
Yeah.
That's a Pokestop. So if I hit it, right, it says the Sunset and Gower stages fountain. So there's real life like monuments outside, and you can get. See, I got Pokeballs.
So wait, that thing is on this lot right now, and it knows that.
Yeah,
It's all
it tracks your
GPS and
GPS.
shit?
It knows where you
This
are.
is insane.
I mean, your phone has known where you are anyway.
Yeah.
It's just now you get Pokemon from it. So, who just popped up? Oh no, I'm good.
That's good. But the whole time he's talking about it, I'm like, God, I could go for some Poke right now. Some like tuna Poke. It sounds delicious.
You just need to eat.
For
and then we
Tada,
can
that's
talk
how
about
I
all
had
that
this
stuff.
stupid little fruit thing before. It was delicious, but now I'm still hungry.
Dude, you're gonna be all over this. I'm calling it. Like you love
I
Periscope.
can't- no, this is the
you
kind of
love
thing.
Snapchatting now.
It's fun. It's
But I don't
honestly
think I
just
will
fun.
do it.
You can, and honestly, it's not like you. Don't be afraid that if you like get the app, your whole life's over. Like you can't do anything because you're so consumed. You can choose how much you want to play, and you can choose when you want to play. Like
Vanessa, are you playing?
Joe Paterno swears he never saw a Pokemon.
Okay. Tony, you playing?
I didn't even know what it was.
Okay.
Yeah, but
you should get on. It's fun.
So the Uber guy is a hoax? The murder?
I heard it was a hoax. Yeah, I don't think it's legit.
You know, you hit it big when a hoax is after you. Like, that's like Beatles level.
Dude. I mean, this is. I still don't necessarily understand it, but I'm gonna look into it tonight.
And what's the end game here? Like, what do you?
There's no
No
end
one
game.
knows. You want to get. You know, I think there's like maybe a good 30% of people playing right now. That might be a little high. Who grew up with Pokemon? Maybe like 50%.
My girlfriend's 26.
Okay.
So she grew up with it, and she was trying to explain it to me.
Well,
last
she may or
night.
may not have.
Well, she did. She was
Oh, okay, okay.
explaining it to me
Okay.
last night, and I was
Got
like,
it.
it was going over my head. But
Yeah, but there's like probably a good portion of people playing right now who are tried and true Pokemon fans from growing up. So that's why they're playing it. They're living out their amazing dream of playing Pokemon in real life. And then there's the other amount of people who are just like kind of just doing it because it's there and all their friends are doing it. Like you didn't even know what Pokemon was before a week ago, but now you do. And
you just go out on the streets with your friends.
Yeah.
Like three
Oh,
or
yeah.
four of you just roll out.
oh yeah.
find
There were
some
groups
Pokemons.
and groups and groups of people on Ocean Ave at 10 p.m. Monday night. The pier was flooded with people
I'll
just
say this.
looking for Pokemon.
People could be out doing a lot worse things than this.
They could be sitting there
Yeah.
playing PlayStation for hours and
Yeah.
hours on end.
Or, I don't know, doing drugs.
Yeah.
drugs, committing
Yeah.
real murders.
Because I know, like, the reason why I'm not going to get into this is I was never huge into video games, but I knew, like, I have a very strong. I don't get sick too much. Okay, I know
Constitution.
you're gonna get sick
Strong
tomorrow.
that when I do start to get sick, I know
Ebola.
it's going to be
Guaranteed.
it's going to be a few days. So what I used to do is go to get like a PlayStation game, whether it was like Grand Theft Auto or the Godfather game, and I would sit in and just play it for hours
you,
and hours.
You only
and
play video
hours.
games when you're sick?
Yeah, pretty much. And because I wasn't leaving the house, so I'm like, I'm just gonna dominate this Godfather.
But then
game.
what happens when you heal and you're just like, all I want to do is play video
Then
games?
I'm over it.
You don't even.
Then I go out and chase a ball around.
Is that what you do?
That's why I'm not going to get into this Pokemon thing because I know it will consume me. I'm beyond fascinated by it right now.
It's a very
Beyond.
self-aware breakdown of
Think about
yourself.
this, okay?
Thank you.
Respectful.
You walk down the street right now, and every single stranger you see, you don't have any reason to have anything to do with them forever. And I'm the same way. Like I'm very introverted. I don't like just talking to people. I don't just start conversation. But now, like if I'm on Pokemon Go and someone talks to me about Pokemon Go, I'm about it right away. Like I'm like, oh shit, this is cool. Like you know what's going on. Let's exchange
So you guys
info.
are buddy. Exchange info?
No, not personal info. Like Pokemon info. Like where did you find that stop? Where do I go? What's the? You need to get on this. You're already like a week behind.
I know, and which is an eternity in the Pokemon world.
And
If there was a leaderboard,
Yes.
if there was a leaderboard, I'd be behind. But there's no. This is the part that's fascinating. Maybe this is a generational thing. There's no end game. There's no scoreboard.
there is
So, like-
there is scores. You level up your Pokemon. You have certain like your Pokemon. There's something called CP. It's combat power. It's basically a collective stat of your Pokemon. If it's
Okay.
high, your Pokemon's good. If it's low, your Pokemon sucks. And it determines how well your Pokemon battle. So if you go to a gym and you have higher CP Pokemon than they do, you likely can beat them. And that's the competitive
You're
aspect.
talking about the Pokemon gym, not like a real gym
No, not the
where you
real
actually have to
gym.
talk.
how's
to
your
We're
people.
talking
CP?
about Pokemon here.
How's your
My
CP?
CP's okay. I just passed 1,000 on a couple Pokemon.
No? Okay.
1,000. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have
Yeah,
no
I mean-
idea what that means.
No,
That's- I know that's
it's
good.
all relative. Of course, it could mean whatever. But I think some of the highest, at least that I've seen in gyms, are like 1,800 right now. So
Holy shit, man. Well, let's talk about some of these. So, like, you're a big YouTube influencer. You're showing up at a lot of events, right? What was the event that you just went to, Vanessa, recently?
yeah,
VidCon, like
yeah.
huge, right?
Yeah,
Were you
man,
down for
30,000 people.
down there for that?
Yeah.
So you're out there like talking to people.
Yep.
What are you
Yep.
talking about? 'Cause you're
Um,
basically a rock star when you go to these places.
that's a stretch.
Yeah, I mean,
I appreciate it. No, I think, well, I do, when I go to these things, I normally do joint things with Jenna. Technically, I don't really have anything. She has meet and greets where people sign up and they get in line and then they meet her. And I always, for the last, 4 or so years, I've been going to these things, or I think like 3 years now, I've been going to these things. And since, I have my own channel now, and initially people knew me from being in her videos. I get to meet people too. And that's what that's the main thing we do at these things. We go to the meet and greets.
You guys go to a lot of them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they last a couple hours, like 4, maybe sometimes more hours, and you meet
I mean,
all.
you just said you were pretty introverted, like your personality
I know,
is.
isn't
So
that
that's
weird?
got to be kind of.
It's weird. It's very weird because you put your life on the internet,
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes you forget that real humans are watching it. So when they come up to you and they're like, "I loved that day in your life when you did this," and I'm just like, "Holy shit, you know my life."
You're like
Yeah.
you're creeping
Yeah.
off, yeah.
But it's like you put your life out there. It's part of it, and it's cool because everyone's so nice, like so nice. Every single one.
Because they're excited to meet you guys. Yeah.
Yeah, it feels sometimes like, why is everyone so nice to us? It's
Yeah.
very, very cool.
All the snaps you were putting up when you were down there, people were. It was like you guys were the Beatles. I mean, people. That's probably a dated reference. All right, you're like you were Bieber, all right? Not the Beatles.
Wait, you think I don't know who the Beatles are?
Well, no, you do. But I was dating myself. That's what I was dating
We're
myself.
gonna have some great hashtags for this show
I was the
tonight.
fucking
No,
Beatles.
but some of the bigger creators, like Jenna was on a panel with. Well, Jenna, I mean, she
Jenna's
gets crazy response.
Yeah.
She was on a panel with Dan and Phil, these British YouTubers.
Who's the
Okay.
other guy she was on with? The German guy.
Flula,
Oh, that dude is.
he's amazing.
He's hysterical.
Yeah,
at you, man.
He's right.
I met him.
Nice.
I met him once. Actually.
Well, he's an actor too, right? He's in movies and stuff. But I
Yeah.
mean, he's Flula. Like, he is a very funny guy.
I gotta look this guy up.
So we were bartending an event. Brian and I, my buddy Brian, played basketball at St. Joe's University, which is like with Jameer Nelson and Delonte West. Long story short, that guy walks up to the bar. He's like, "You guys are very tall." He's Spanish. I don't know why I just made him Spanish.
Flula Borg.
He's
I don't
like,
think he's Spanish.
he's not. He's German. But
German, yeah,
German.
I can only
Yeah,
do a
he's German,
Spanish
yeah.
accent.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
We'll take Spanish.
So he
you guys are
was-
very tall.
He's very, very tall. So he's like, "Where'd you guys play basketball?" And Brian's like, "I played at St. Joe's." He's like, "Oh, you play with Delonte West? I have guns. Look at me." Because Delonte West got arrested for having
my
like
God, yeah.
a shotgun in a guitar case, like he
Holy
was
shit.
fucking Desperado or something. But he knew, and he was funny as shit. And then somebody goes, "Yo, do you know who that is?" And we're like, "No idea." Like, "Oh, that guy's like huge on YouTube."
Yeah.
We're like, "Holy shit!" But yeah, he's funny.
Yeah, I've met him a couple times, but watching him like on a live panel, answering questions and still being hilarious, it's
Yeah.
like, holy shit.
Yeah, it's one thing when you do it on tape. Like you can, if
Yeah,
you fuck
no,
up, you can
he's
go back and do it.
he's like an entertainer. Yeah,
That's awesome.
I'm checking him out. Flula Borg, all over
Yeah.
the place.
yep.
YouTube. He's
He's a DJ too.
Yeah. 34. DJ, engineer, musician, actor, YouTube personality.
Scavati, why
DJ
don't you
Flula.
have a YouTube channel? Like
Scavati,
following around the
get on
Scavati
YouTube.
family, your daughter is insanely
You could just talk
cute.
about everything you hate. I would watch that.
Oh my God.
I don't know if I have decided on Pokemon yet. If I'm going to be the only person in the world who hates Pokemon.
I like hearing you rant about stuff.
Thank you.
Oh,
I
it's just
appreciate
so
that. I would
great.
like to.
You're
I enjoy
eloquent
it.
when you're angry. That's
Thank
a
you.
good thing.
I'm in my natural,
I think-
natural state there. It just
Yeah.
flows. It
Yeah.
just comes
Yeah.
out.
You're
Yeah.
in your zone when you're mad.
It's like the old school Dennis Leary rants. Again, we just
Yeah.
keep dating ourselves, dude. You know
that,
Dennis
okay,
Leary?
that was you just dated yourself.
You know what? Oh, this is what I wanted to talk about because we got you two guys here. If you have a child, okay, let's say Avery, and she's a few years down the road, and she is insanely smart, and she's going to medical school when she's like 8 years old. What TV personality
What
would you
medical
compare
school
her
is going
to?
to take an 8-year-old?
Doogie Howser.
first of all?
Doogie Howser, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Apparently, these guys, if Doogie Howser is too old of a reference. Under 30, we can't say Doogie Howser anymore because these guys don't know who Doogie Howser is. Do you know who Doogie Howser?
I've heard that a billion times. I don't know who it is.
Well, what would
Do you
their
know
answer?
Doogie Howser? You don't even know Doogie Howser?
I've heard the name.
Yeah, we've heard the
Wow.
name. I just don't know.
Neil
what that-
Patrick Harris was Doogie Howser. He was.
Oh,
Doogie
he was a
Howser.
kid when he was a kid.
When he was a
Yeah.
kid, he was
Oh,
Doogie
I think I
Howser.
have. Yeah,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, I think I have seen that.
He is Barney Sense. He is great.
So according to
Barney
that
Sense.
show, medical schools are taking 8-year-olds if you're really smart. Doogie
Oh.
Howsers, and they're saying, "Who the fuck is Doogie Howser?"
There you go.
That's crazy.
Wow.
What else goes on at these meet and greets? It's I mean, I've seen people meet you and Jenna, and they're crying and they're so excited, and it's kind of cool to see because they follow you guys like crazy. And I remember, you watch any TV show and they say people when I meet them, they feel like they know me because I'm in their house every Thursday night on their
Yeah.
TV in their living room and all that. And I'm sure you guys get that nonstop. Do you have like a favorite guest who just stood out to you, who just like totally touched you, and you're like, this, I mean everything to this kid?
Yeah, there was actually a few kids. I don't even say kids. Like the majority of our audience is 18 to 24. Like they're grown ups. A few of the people who we met at the most recent meet and greet, told us about how they were having really tough times in their life and watching the vlogs and watching the podcast and watching Jenna's videos. Like, it helps them escape and it makes them happy. And now they're in a better place. Like, how else can
Wow.
you react from hearing that than like feeling, oh my God, this is
Right.
incredible. Like I am.
And these are
I just-
18-year-old kids like being open like that. That's
grown
crazy.
adults, yeah.
Wow.
And you were like me, I was a couple years ago, I was right there. I know what it feels like to fucking hate everyone and be lost and whatever.
Yeah.
And the fact that I'm anyone's escape from reality and making anyone happy is such a cool thing. I mean, it's just
Yeah.
I feel very lucky. Yeah.
Pretty cool.
It's very cool. Well, explain just for like the people out there that aren't familiar with like what goes on YouTube and what you guys do. If you can break it down in like a couple minutes.
Yeah. So I make vlogs, which are video blogs of my life, which
Mm-hmm.
is basically me documenting myself 4 or 5 days a week. So most of my life,
Yeah.
I'm filming. I have my camera here, and that's the style of videos I make. Jenna makes different styles of videos. She makes one written out sketch or rant or whatever type of video she's feeling for the week. And a lot more goes into that video than goes into a vlog. For a vlog, I pick up the camera, I talk to it, I tell them what I'm doing, I show what I'm doing.
One take wonder most of the time.
Yeah,
At least as far as people know.
Yeah, for sure. It's all one take. For Jenna, it takes a whole process. She needs to get an idea. She writes it out. She executes it. She shoots it. She edits it and uploads it. And so she does that once a week. Then we do a podcast and we stream on Twitch. You know what Twitch is?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we stream on Twitch once a week, and that's about. And then all the social, the Twitter, Snapchat. So we're basically
It's a full-time gig.
it is a
Full-time job.
gig. Yep.
I mean, I listened to your podcast today. It took you guys like 2.5 minutes to even get into it just because of all the sponsors. And
Yeah, and
all that
initially we
stuff.
didn't have sponsors on the podcast. Like way back when we started, we just wanted to do it, and then sponsors came to us. We were like, well, sponsors are appropriate for podcasts. Let's do it.
We should probably pick his brain on the way out of here.
Oh,
about that.
I'm going to add. I'm a big podcast listener.
Yeah,
So
podcasts are
that's-
amazing.
that's
And
now,
you know
yeah.
what? Their lifespan is so impressive
Yeah.
because 4 or 5 years ago, I was listening to podcasts, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, and now they're still as big as they were. That's cool.
Oh, they're so much bigger.
Yeah, but I
so
just
much.
mean like they didn't go away. They're
Oh,
only
yeah.
getting bigger and more popular, and the fact that
Like everybody. Now it's like if you
Yeah.
don't have a podcast,
yeah,
you're
Yeah.
doing something wrong.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so we do something with all of our guests. It started out as a rapid five, but we always leave plenty of time to do this because we have like about 10 or 12 questions, and we always talk about it for much longer. It was supposed to be really quick. Let me just put this on. I want to periscope this.
You and your
Rapid five.
What were you doing the other day when you said I'm trying to put my Periscope up on Snapchat and then interface it with my Facebook or something?
Oh, no. I was on Periscope, and she was Snapchatting me Periscoping, and then was going to
Wait,
put
are
it
you
on
gonna
Facebook.
tweet out your Periscope?
I will.
Oh, and then you're gonna get the Julian retweet.
Yeah, I'll
and it's
retweet
gonna
it.
blow up.
Okay.
This is gonna be great.
All right, here we go. All right, I'm starting the broadcast right
silence.
now.
Oh,
Should I sing a song while you're doing this?
Is it on Twitter?
oh, here we go.
Is it up?
Rapid 5. Yeah, it's up.
Perfect.
This is
All
your
right,
this
here
is
we
your
go.
dream right here, Scavati.
no.
To get this kid, all right, I got to wait for a few people to get into the room.
Scavati
first.
loves all the hate out there. When the people start making fun of his hair, people were making.
Dude, we had this. Yeah, all right. Numbers are going up here. We're gonna start rapid 5 with Julian in about 30 seconds. Yeah, dude. This one guy kept going on the hair. Like he thinks to be an NFL quarterback, you got to have good hair,
You got to be a good looking.
and he's got great hair. This guy was
You-
giving
you
me
have
shit about
quarterback
my
hair.
hair.
Appreciate
Yeah,
that.
you have quarterback hair. Yeah.
All right, so here we go. We're starting the rapid 5 with
So I just have to answer as
Julian.
fast
We're
as
just
I
gonna
can?
ask you a bunch of random questions.
Oh, shit.
I want you to think about it a little bit, though.
Okay.
All right, if you could take a sauna with anybody, dead or alive, who would it be?
Oh my God. Arnold Schwarzenegger in his prime,
Okay,
Nice.
explain why, real quick.
because he probably just finished a crazy gym session. I want to pick his brain,
Okay,
and
What-
maybe like totally no homo. Just look at his body.
okay,
Yeah.
that's all right. If you're gonna do that with someone,
Oh,
him
yeah.
or like Brock Lesnar.
No, Arnold in his prime. I mean,
Great answer.
All right, favorite sports moment, both personally or as a fan.
when the Sox won in 04.
This fucking guy, man.
It's
You're gonna ask me that
Let's
question
go.
and,
Shots
pretend like I'm not gonna say
Oh
that
yeah,
answer.
I know. At least you didn't say anything about Brady. All right, guilty reality show or TV pleasure.
Well, we watched the Challenge. Do you know what
Okay.
that is?
Oh,
It's
yeah.
on MTV. Yeah,
He's
Challenge.
a reality guy.
But even worse, I've been watching The Bachelorette this season.
You have. All right, so I'm going to leave a couple minutes so we can talk about it because we got
I'm
Aaron
what?
Rodgers.
I'm an
we got
historian
sports.
of that show.
Oh God.
We got plenty of sports on that show, so we'll
Okay.
talk about that in a sec.
Perfect.
This isn't part of it, but I have to ask you because you're so young. Do you know what a CD is?
Do I know what a CD is?
Yes.
How dare you? Yes, I know what a CD is.
I'm talking about the financial CD, not a compact disc.
Yes, I know what both
No,
of them
I'm just
are.
talking compact disc. You're stuck on an island. You get to bring one CD with you. What do you bring?
One CD.
Yeah,
Ooh, shit. I don't know.
you can come. We could pass and come back.
Let's pass and come back.
All right. You're on death row. Last meal. What are you eating?
Sushi.
Sushi from
Yeah.
where?
Sugarfish.
Sugarfish sushi. What's
Yeah.
your go-to?
Like the big box, whatever.
The bento box.
Yeah, no, it's called like a Nozawa. I'll get like 5 of them. You don't know what that is?
No, I know what it is.
I
That's
am
just an
offended.
interesting choice. Interesting choice.
What is your last meal? No, rapid 5 to you. What's your last meal?
Dominic's lasagna? Arthur
Okay.
Avenue in the Bronx.
Oh,
The
okay.
real Little
So
Italy.
you just said New York stuff to me. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I'm gonna go to the North End and get some fucking, I don't know,
Chowder?
socks, some chowder,
Some chowder?
some
Don't
sock
start.
shit.
Don't- No, it's
What's your porn star name?
my porn star name.
First pet, last street.
First pet, last street.
First pet, first street.
Oh, J Lightning. Wait, no, first pet.
Yeah.
Puppy.
Puppy. Is that what your first pet? What was your first street?
21st.
Puppy 21st.
Puppy
No,
21st.
it's not Idaho. Puppy Idaho.
Puppy Idaho.
Puppy Idaho.
All right, that got a little bit better. That's probably the worst porn name that we've had on here. What was last week's? It was the best. Oh, was it Blackie? Something
Oh, yeah.
blackish.
That's good.
Blacklash.
Blacklash. Yeah. Yeah, you can ask questions in 1 sec. Let me just get through this. Best celebrity impression.
Impression?
Yeah.
Oh, damn. I'll do one that you guys definitely know. Miranda Sings. You guys know who that is. It's a YouTuber.
Lay it on us.
White. She's basically okay. So she's a YouTuber who plays a character, Miranda Sings, and she's basically this ultra famous. Who?
I've heard of it. I don't know what
Oh,
it is.
she's mega famous, but she
Okay.
makes. We always do her voice. That's the only one I can do.
Though. Okay. You collect anything?
Do you know who that is?
Yeah.
Thank you. All right, so I'm not crazy.
You collect anything?
Do I collect anything?
Yeah.
I at one point collected sports cards, and I still have them, like in my
Nice.
office right now. What else do I collect? No, nothing else.
Ever been arrested?
No, but I've been cuffed and thrown in a cop car.
What for?
Being with a black friend and them thinking we were hot wiring his own car.
That's awesome. That's a good answer.
It's topical.
Good.
It's topical. Unfortunately, it's still fucking
Yeah.
topical. Yeah.
Favorite all-time
Sadly.
movie, favorite TV show?
Ooh, Office for TV show and Big Daddy.
Big Daddy.
Yeah.
All right. It's a classic, interesting Sandler pick.
Touching.
I like it.
His name's Julian. The kid's name is
The
Julian.
kid's name's
It's fine.
Julian. Yeah.
It helps.
Rob Schneider. No,
This
yeah,
has
the
been
Rob
like
Schneider was a
13
classic.
questions.
Oh,
They're
we
all
got
on
a few
those.
more.
Yeah.
What would your sitcom TV show be called?
Vlogs by Julian.
Okay. What's the first thing you check on your phone when you wake up?
Snapchat.
Snapchat.
Then email. Then Twitter. Then YouTube.
You're a Major League Baseball player. What is your walkout song when you're coming up to bat?
Oh, shit. Well, I had a few walkout songs in high school, and I think Next episode by Dr. Dre.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Last one. If you had to go after the world record for a food eating competition, what would you want it to be?
I love this one.
Like realistically, what I think I could eat the most of?
Yeah, like your best shot.
Rice. Just rice.
Just rice.
Yeah,
Plain
white rice.
Just
How
pounds
much?
and pounds of rice?
I could eat a lot of fucking rice.
Wow. All right. We got another challenge. We might have to do this.
I could.
Like how much
if
do
you're
you
having-
think?
Well, I mean, how do you
We'll
measure
bring in
it? Like
some-
weight? Or
Yeah, by pound. You get like 10 minutes to eat it, pretty much.
I could probably eat 5 pounds of rice.
5 pounds in 10 minutes.
It's a lot of
10
rice.
minutes?
You
Is
get
that-
10 minutes.
Oh, yeah, 5 pounds.
All right. So he's got to come back like next week.
Rice.
You guys want to see
If-
Julian
hey, if
try
you're-
and eat 5 pounds
If
of rice
you guys
in 10
bring the
minutes?
rice, I'm there.
Done.
Yeah.
We could bring at least 5 pounds of rice
I'll
next
do
week.
my
But
Mexi.
it
I
has
said
to-
Mexi melts.
No,
today.
no.
Mexi melts, Taco
Oh,
Bell.
Mexi melts?
I could eat like 18 of those in
So
3
we'll
minutes,
just be
probably.
picking out and you're watching, or what's yours?
I would have tried oysters, but that's insane to do that here.
That's logistically how that's so expensive.
I know.
So for the world record,
You
in
picked
oysters.
like the cheapest thing. I picked the most expensive. What's your gluten-free snack? This is coming in from Periscope. Your favorite gluten-free snack?
Let's see. Like, rice is good.
Okay, that's a good one.
I like chips and fries.
Chips and fries.
Potatoes, yeah.
All right. Favorite Pokemon? Yeah, all right. We love them. Yeah, we love them too. All right, cool. That was
that it?
Yeah, that was it for the 5. All right, here's. I'm not gonna ask him that one.
You kind of have to now.
Yeah, you teased us.
You spit or swallow?
You did not see that. You did not see that.
You think I just made that up?
100% made
That was
up.
it. Whoever just wrote that, write something again
this is
so I remember
recorded.
your name.
This is recorded, so we can go back and check.
We'll go
that
back
you
and
lied.
check. Yeah, we'll see this guy.
It's probably not a guy.
Will you do more skit type videos in the future? I'm gonna guess yes.
Maybe.
Okay.
When I
maybe.
have an idea.
Kermit or Marbles? You can't pick. Those are your kids.
Yeah, Peach.
You can't pick that. What level Pokemon Go?
17 at the moment.
Oh, that's
Although
good.
I just missed a Charmander outside. I literally found a Charmander in the wild, and I missed him. I couldn't catch him. He kept escaping.
I gotta look up a fucking.
With that, we're gonna
Charmander.
shut this down. We're gonna do a little more Periscope with Julian probably a little bit later. Thank you all for being on. He was never touched by Jerry Sandusky, dude. He's too young. He doesn't even know who Sandusky is.
Oh my God! Of course I know who that is.
All right, we're gonna wrap up the show with you guys talking about The Bachelor and a little Aaron
Oh,
Rodgers.
so you're watching?
We're gonna sign
Did
this
you
off
watch
right
last
now.
night?
Thank you guys for listening.
How about fucking Jordan throwing Aaron under the bus?
Yeah,
I mean, I didn't see that coming.
yeah. You know, I saw you see Cowherd talking about it today.
I did not.
Cowherd talked about it.
What was he saying?
He was just like, because I think Jordan was basically like, oh, he's not around with the family. Like, we don't have a relationship. But like,
Passive aggressive as
but
fuck.
it's like, what do you? He's a fucking top 5 NFL quarterback. What would you say? I don't
Easy,
know.
yeah, top 5
top
easy.
5 NFL
Yeah.
quarterback.
Top 3,
So you're
yeah.
like, you're mad that this brother of yours, who's just also a top 5 NFL quarterback and has been for years and years, doesn't come to every like brunch. All right.
Yeah.
Like, don't
he-
throw him under the bus just so you can. Oh, it's terrible.
Well, I think he was trying to get out of that was his way of getting out of the shadow because everybody's like, well, he's just riding the coattails of his brother. So at this point, if he distanced himself from his brother,
Yeah.
then he can stand on his own 2 feet.
Yeah.
But I'm fairly certain he's gonna quote unquote win. Don't you think?
I think he's. Well, I only say this because Jen has been like watching it with me, and I've been watching it with her, and she gives me this like really dynamic info and analysis of what's happening.
Okay.
And like first episode, she was like, "Rogers is picked to win. Like
First
he's the
impression
fucking
roast.
ringer."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, any ex-athlete. Is this your first season watching? Have you watched
I
before?
watched last season with JoJo being on the show.
Yeah.
I watched that season, but that was my first.
Anytime you're like a failed professional, like this is the way I look at it. Jordan Rogers has played like one more professional football game than me.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So like
Yeah.
when you see, and his name is gone from, it says Jordan, former professional football player, to former professional quarterback. I don't know if you noticed that this week. My girlfriend
Wow.
pointed that one out. But all those guys always win. I don't know what it is.
Yeah. I mean, they all play the same card. You know.
I don't know. His hair bothers me too.
I'm just as good as all those professional guys. I had a bad break. Feel
Yeah.
bad for me. My brother is not at family brunches. And
What do you think of JoJo?
I really wasn't into her
Yeah.
last season. Like not at all last season. Didn't like her. Didn't like her at the reunion, and didn't like her at the beginning of this season. Although now I started to like warm up a little bit.
She's growing on you.
Yeah, I don't hate her.
Yeah, it's going up and down for me. I didn't love her in the beginning. I didn't love her in the middle.
Yeah.
And like she's tolerable now.
Yeah.
She feels like she's had so much fucking work done. She feels like almost fake to me.
She looks like a doll.
Yeah,
Like
she's
on her
like too
face?
young, like her face and her boobs and like, you know.
I don't know. I don't think I noticed any, but maybe, I honestly think that she's getting to the point where she's like, all right, I can't really hold up this whole thing anymore. I got to just be myself a little bit. So I think she's calmed down.
Yeah. Well, you watched last year. How excited are you to see the brother? Her brother.
Wait, which one was he? I forget.
Remember the brother went crazy on Ben?
Yeah, that was the
like
crazy one, yeah.
Totally fucking nuts.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
he was like a steroid
No,
head.
yeah. At that point, you were like, oh, she's not going to get picked. This is great.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
He totally sabotaged her.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, he was on a dating show that was on TV. I don't know if
shit. Yeah. That
he was
came
on
out.
the Eva Longoria
Yeah,
show
yeah.
that was on NBC. So there's like, dude, you're fucking hypocrite here.
Yeah, super hypocrite.
But he's gonna be great when like the final two go meet her family will be hysterical.
You're just waiting for Chad to be on
I just want more Chad.
Paradise.
I think everyone wants more Chad.
I stopped watching after Chad was gone.
Okay, not even lying. There was an episode we had recorded it, and I was catching up, and I watched the whole Chad part, and then I was like, I don't need to watch the rest of this episode.
Yeah, that's why we had a whole thing about it.
Yeah.
See, you're chasing Pokemon. I'm chasing Chad around Santa Monica through his Snapchats and his Twitter feed.
Wait, do you follow him on Snapchat?
Oh,
and stuff?
bro, I follow him on MySpace. I follow him on fucking Friendster.
Amazing.
Anywhere that guy
Do you
is.
follow him on Tinder?
Tinder, Grinder,
Good.
you know, wherever he is. I'm chasing this fool down, man. He's gonna be amazing on Bachelor in Paradise.
Real quick to finish it off, who takes it down?
Jordan's gonna win.
Jordan?
Yeah. Jordan or the other good-looking guy who's always like buddy with her too. The leather jacket kid. I forget his name.
Yeah. Like
Does Vegas have odds out yet or no?
I don't think so. 'Cause I think
Wait, do they do that?
Yeah, of course.
Oh,
you can
shit.
go to Reality Steve and just find out.
That's your guy.
If you don't
You want to be
win.
Reality J.
Oh, he
I was
knows?
just
He
glad
already
the
knows?
midget guy got kicked off last week.
Oh, the army guy?
Yeah.
You didn't like him?
What was to like about that guy?
I liked him only because when you put him next to Chad, it was like, all right, you're the guy.
Who wins that fight?
I think he's a Marine. I think he can win. I think he's tougher than people are. He's tiny, but it's like, motherfucker's a Marine. Like, I'm sorry. There's
See,
something
I
to be
want
said
them
about
in the
that.
octagon. Let's go back to MMA
There
fighting.
should just be a reality show octagon, though. Don't even put it in the UFC. Just make it like the reality fights.
Dude, that would
That's
be
what I was just
number
thinking.
one in my DVR
Like
queue.
if UFC started tanking, that's why I like the guy girl thing. Like if they're really desperate, obviously right now they're shooting straight up. But would they do shit like that to get ratings, to take like two like contest winners, say, all right, you guys are in the same weight class.
They would do
it.
that. They would do that. I just don't think they would ever do man versus woman. But I don't think if they were tanking, they wouldn't jump the shark.
I'm gonna steal one from Fight Club. If you could fight anyone, who would you want to be? Anyone throughout history.
If you could fight anybody.
If I could fight anyone.
We got to wrap it up.
Okay.
Oh,
We'll
we
finish with
gotta
this.
wrap
If you
it
could
No,
fight anyone.
yeah, this is a great question. This is a great finisher.
up. Damn.
Fight anybody. Hitler?
Like just
Pol
fist fight?
Pot?
No, in the octagon, UFC style. Who would it be?
Oh, MMA.
Yeah.
Mm.
You know what? Think about it. Next time you're on the show, we're
That
gonna
sounds
start
good.
with that.
I'll have a better
All right?
answer.
And we're gonna do some rice. We're gonna do the rice takedown challenge.
There's going to be
Julian
so much
next
fucking
week.
rice in
I'm
here.
ready.
It was on Periscope. People are excited, man. All right, dude. Thank you so much for coming
Yeah,
on.
thank you for having me.
Plug
This
your
is
stuff
fun.
real quick. Not that you need to. Go ahead.
YouTube.com/JSolo. That's really it. I mean,
Cool.
Yeah, you find everything.
Check
from
it out.
there.
Hysterical. Gives Pokemon tips. UFC stuff. Jenna and Julien Podcast. Listen to it. It's hilarious. You got great chemistry. Thank you for listening on Mostly Sports. We'll see you next week.
Welcome to the new sound of online radio. Welcome to the sound of Universal Broadcasting Network. 'Cause you make me feel like I've been locked out of hell. A mix of today's hits and hard-to-find favorites, combined with the most entertaining and intriguing talk anywhere. This is your sound. This is the sound of Universal Broadcasting Network at UBN Radio.